Chapter 50-41. Everyone looked at Zi Chen. It was obvious that there were three forces surrounding him. If it was really those people, they would not be so nice. "What's your name?" the brawny man asked. Zi Chen said. The brawny man's eyes flashed. "This is Exile City. We've been living here." This place was even smaller than Miao Pengfei's Spellbreaker City. It was not suitable to call it a city. The brawny man invited Zi Chen in and told him that it was called this place because they were all refugees. It would take about 10 days to travel east from here. There was a mine, and most of them came from there. The reason for their escape was simple. The captain had embezzled too many resources. If they did not run, they would die of exhaustion. Everyone supported each other here. It was a comfortable life. Zi Chen asked about the mine and the person in charge. He said that it was ruled by a person called Buki. The brawny man was called Nori. It was said that there were 4 other second strength realm people like him. There were 5 second strength realm people guarding this place. They did not have to worry about being attacked by the Spellbreaker beasts. Zi Chen had nowhere to go, so he stayed here for the time being. Outside the mine with killing crystals, Sang Larry brought some people. One of them was a 5th strength realm, while the others were all 4th strength realm. After hearing what the crowd said about Zi Chen, the 5 strength realm cultivator's face turned ugly. His only a 2nd strength realm. Why did he use killing crystals to kill others? The 5th strength realm person looked at one of them and asked. The person shook his head. I don't know. The 5th strength realm person's face turned cold. You don't know, or you don't dare to say. The 2nd strength realm person's face turned pale. What's there to hide? Hurry up and say it. A 4th strength realm person said sternly. If you don't say it, we'll kill you now. The 5th strength realm person waved his hand. The 4th strength realm person took a step back and said gently, let's hear it. Don't worry. If you tell the truth, no one will target you. At the same time, he took out 10 strength realm. This is your reward. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. The 2nd strength realm person hesitated and said, I don't know the details. It might have something to do with them beating Zi Chen. Oh. How do we beat them? 5 strengths realm asked. The 2nd force realm expert glanced at Solali cautiously and said, I'm not sure about the details, but whenever I see Lord Gavin, I'll kick Zi Chen when I have nothing to do. I'll kick him when I have something to gain, and I'll kick him when I don't. When the 3 lords saw this, they did not pay any attention to it. In fact, it was always Sang Larry who made the first move, and then Gavin would follow behind to take advantage of the situation. However, before his eyes, the former was standing right here, while the latter was already dead. This 2nd strength realm cultivator was obviously not stupid, and knew what to say. The 5 strengths realm nodded and gave the other party 10 streams of power. The matter was clearly clear. There was indeed a reason why Zi Chen had used the killing crystal to scheme against them. Solali, why is this happening? 5 forces realm looked at Solali. Although he was obviously 1 realm higher than the other, he did not use the tone of a superior. That bastard is really cunning. He killed Li An as soon as he arrived, and now he wants to kill me. Solali said, he's full of evil tricks. During this period of time, he only took out a dozen killing crystals, but I didn't expect that he had hundreds of them in secret. It's obvious that he's up to no good. The 5 strengths realm said, this is your answer. Solali looked at him, what else? Are you going to say that this is all my fault? The 5 strengths realm frowned slightly. Even if I admit that I'm guilty, do you dare to convict me? Solali scoffed, do you have the ability to convict a lawbreaker? You don't have to care about this place. Go back. Facing the other party's provocation, the 5 strengths realm said, from now on, I'll be in charge of this place. I swear I won't stop until I kill him, Solali said coldly. The higher-ups have already said that they want him alive. The 5 strengths realm's gaze turned cold, if you want to kill him, I have no objections. I can even help you, but the premise is that you have to go inside and look for killing crystals in the future. Are you threatening me? Solali stared at the 5 strengths realm. I'm just stating a fact. The 5 strengths realm said, No matter how special your identity is, if you kill someone who can obtain killing crystals, it won't be easy to explain when you go back, right? Moreover, now that he's run away, we'll have to expend a lot of manpower to find him. Can you bear the cost and losses during this period? Humph. Solarly scoffed, turned around, and left. The other 4 strengths realm watched Solarly leave, and their eyes were extremely cold. These lawbreakers really can't do anything right. They didn't need to guess to know what had happened. If Zi Chen wasn't forced into a corner, why would he kill someone for no reason? The 5 strengths realm said, "Now, go back and find people. We must find Zi Chen." He looked at the mineral vein in front of him. A 2 strengths realm who can harvest killing crystals is still very rare. Moreover, he's someone who has such a high efficiency. I'll go find people now. The 4 strengths realm started to turn back. Of course, he wasn't going back to the city, but to the area that Gavin originally controlled to gather people there. Gavin was dead, and his deputy who had been by his side had replaced him. At this moment, he had mobilized almost all of his men to go out and find Zi Chen. Zi Chen had been gone for a long time, and it was obviously impossible to find him in a short time. Therefore, the 4 strengths realm went to Shaman's area and met him. Shaman was obviously stunned when he knew the purpose of the 4 strengths realm's visit. "Sir, you're looking for Zi Chen?" The 4 strengths realm nodded. Shaman said, "Didn't Zi Chen leave with Gavin?" There were also 3 Sir from Dharma Breaking City. They beat up Zi Chen violently, and after he was very obedient, they took him away. The 4 strengths realm's face showed a hint of anger. Although he had known about this, he was still angry when he heard Shaman say it. Those idiots really couldn't do anything big. He said coldly, "Zi Chen killed them all. Gavin is dead, and Eddie and the other 2 were killed." "What?" The Shaman's face showed a hint of shock and disbelief. Zi Chen was only at the 2 strengths realm. How did he do it? "What is this?" The 4 strengths realm said, "He killed a 5 strengths realm not long ago and then ran away." The Shaman was shocked again. Was this really the Zi Chen he knew? Then, the Shaman called crew and asked him to mobilize everyone, put down all of their work, and go out to look for Zi Chen. When crew heard everything about Zi Chen from the Shaman, he was also shocked. 2 whole areas with almost 10,000 people were mobilized to look for Zi Chen. On the 2nd day of Zi Chen's stay in Exile City, a 2 strengths realm called Lance returned. Chapter 5042. That was what Lance said the moment he saw Zi Chen. Zi Chen looked at him. Seeing that Zi Chen did not respond, Lance said again, "Everyone is looking for you. Come with me." "What happened?" Nori asked with a puzzled expression. "Now people from 2 regions are looking for him." Lance looked at Zi Chen. "As for what happened, you can ask him." Zi Chen frowned slightly. He thought that this place was remote enough. He did not expect his identity to be exposed as soon as he arrived. "What did you do? Why are people from 2 regions looking for you?" Nori looked at Zi Chen curiously. Zi Chen looked at the 2 of them and said calmly, "I killed a 5 strength state." "What?" The expressions of the 2 changed abruptly, and they were extremely shocked. Nori was sitting with Zi Chen. Now, he stood up and distanced himself from Zi Chen. Lance knew some things, but he did not expect Zi Chen to do such a big thing. How did he kill a 5 strength state when he was only at 3rd strength state? Zi Chen stood up and walked outside. Since his identity was exposed, he could not stay here any longer. "Where are you going?" Lance ran out of the room. "I'm going somewhere else. I can't drag you guys down," Zi Chen said without even turning his head as he walked out of the city. Lance and Nori looked at each other. Then, Lance immediately chased after him and said, "They sent out a lot of people. No matter where you go, they can find you." Zi Chen looked at Lance. Lance continued, "Follow me. I know a place where they can't find you." Zi Chen walked forward without saying a word. "You don't trust me?" Lance followed. "You and I have never met before. Why should I trust you?" Zi Chen had seen too many bad things since he came here. Of course, he would not trust a person he had just met. And Lance's purpose of coming back seemed to be to find him. "If they find you, they will definitely harm you," Lance said. "But we won't." We will only protect you. Trust me, we mean you no harm. If we really wanted to harm you, we wouldn't have come alone. Zichen looked at Lance again. Why are you helping me? This question startled Lance. Shouldn't a normal person be the first to express their gratitude when receiving help? Lance thought about it and said, we don't want to see oppression happen. We don't want to see you get killed by them. Seeming to have guessed what Zichen was worried about, Lance continued, don't worry, the place I've found for you also has resources. It won't delay your cultivation. We don't mean any harm, we just want to help you. Lance extended 3 fingers. 3 days. They will find this place in less than 3 days, and everyone will have to leave this place soon. Rather than wandering around aimlessly, why don't you come with me? Don't worry, if you don't want to stay, you can leave at any time. After some hesitation, Zichen nodded. Now that he had nowhere to go, he could go and take a look. Lance led Zichen to an even more remote place. Along the way, they could see some mountains and forests, but there was no one to be seen. Just as the two of them left, everyone in the 2 regions was mobilized and started a thorough search for Zichen. They searched very seriously and carefully. Everyone gave up on their original jobs and started searching for Zichen. This showed how much attention these people paid to Zichen. One had to know that these people would consume a lot of energy every day, and the consumption every day was huge. Zichen followed Lance for 5 days. During this time, they passed by an even smaller village. There were only a dozen buildings here. Lance went in to find someone, and they talked about something. After that, Lance continued leading Zichen deeper into the village. They walked for another 10 days. During these 10 days, the two of them traveled day and night. They did not encounter any annihilating shadow beasts. When they did, Lance dealt with them. Zichen finally saw a decent city. This city was built in the middle of the mountains, and its scale was not small. After entering the city, Lance took Zichen to find a 3rd strength realm cultivator. This 3rd strength realm cultivator then took Zichen to find a 4th strength realm cultivator. You are Zichen? The 4th strength realm cultivator looked at Zichen curiously. You are famous now. There are tens of thousands of people looking for you. Zichen asked, where is this place? Jutian City. The 4th strength realm cultivator said, my name is Luo Bu. Come with me and familiarize yourself with this place. Luo Bu led Zichen into the city. You will be living here for a long time, so try to familiarize yourself with it. Zichen looked at Luo Bu. I didn't say I was going to stay. Luo Bu smiled. If you don't stay here, where else can you go? Don't worry, no one will make things difficult for you here. He looked around and said, you're not the only one who fled here. Zichen's expression suddenly changed. You are the rebel army? Luo Bu looked at him strangely. Why do you say that? This place is remote and far from Pofa City. It is obviously not under the jurisdiction of Pofa City. Zichen looked around. And you said that there are other people who fled here. The forces of Pofa City won't take them in, right? Hu Zheng had told him about the rebel army. We are not the rebel army. We are just a group of different people who want to live. Luo Bu said, look, everyone is living here. There is no oppression, no embezzlement, and no scheming. Isn't it good? Zichen looked at these people. Compared to the places Zichen had seen before, this place was indeed much better. But if that was the case, Zichen could not stay. Because once those people found this place, he would bring endless disaster to this place. Zichen shook his head and said, I can't stay here. Luo Bu looked at Zichen and said, if you feel bad, then you can work in exchange for payment. Zichen shook his head again. That's not what I meant. I killed a 5 strength realm cultivator. They will find me sooner or later. A strange light flashed through Luo Bu's eyes. Although I'm curious as to how you did it, everyone has their own secrets. If you insist on leaving, I will not persuade you anymore. But, where can you go? Anywhere is fine. In short, can I stay here? Zichen did not want to implicate the people here. He had already made up his mind to leave. Luo Bu was silent for a moment and said, do you dare to fight? Zichen looked at him in confusion. Since you know they are coming, why not fight?
How?
We found a mineral vein. There might be martial crystals in it. Chapter 50-43. Zichen looked at Luo Biyu. He was surprised by Luo Biyu's words. Martial Jingsha was a good item that could help one break through. Last time in the mine, Zichen only found some scattered martial force, but he did not see any martial Jingsha. Zichen felt that the reason why he was able to break through and reach the third strength realm was because of the martial force he had absorbed back then. Vaguely, he seemed to have guessed the real reason why these people brought him here. The people in Pofa City wanted him to find killing crystals, but these people wanted him to find martial Jingsha. Zichen's expression changed, and he said hesitantly, I heard that martial Jingsha is very scary, and the martial force can kill anyone who touches it. Luo Biyu said, of course it's dangerous. No one will risk their life unless it's a critical moment. If you want to break through quickly, you can only risk your life. Zichen hesitated for a long time, then said, okay, I'll try. Luo Biyu looked at Zichen and said, you should know that once you enter, life and death will be determined. In other words, once you enter, it's a matter of life and death. Zichen nodded. He was well aware of this. Luo Biyu said, there's one more thing. If you succeed, we need 90% of your harvest. Okay. Zichen did not have any other choice, so he nodded and said, if I can come out alive, you must give me the first martial Jingsha. He needed martial Jingsha to break through. No, I'll give you the fifth one. Luo Biyu shook his head and said, what? Zichen's expression changed, and he said in disbelief, how can I get so many at once? I need martial Jingsha to break through, so I must get the first one. The third one. Luo Biyu said, we found the martial Jingsha mine, so we should get some of it. Zichen smiled bitterly, what's the point of bargaining now? Whether or not I can come out alive is still a question. What I mean is, if I survive, I need a martial Jingsha to break through. After all, as long as I'm alive, I can continue to help you find martial Jingsha. I'll give you the second piece. That's the most I can decide, Luo Biyu said. There's a vein of ore inside. Since you have the ability to get one piece, you can naturally get two pieces. All right then. Zichen could only nod in agreement. There was no point in continuing to argue. Luo Biyu walked forward. Come with me. Luo Biyu led Zichen into the city and walked towards a rather remote room. After entering, there were two people in the third strength realm standing guard. Apart from that, there was also a mine. This made Zichen very surprised. He did not expect that they would place the entrance to the mine here. However, this also showed how extraordinary this mine was. Perhaps they could really find martial crystal stones there. The two of them looked at Zichen, obviously guessing that he was going to enter. Be careful. Luo Biyu handed Zichen a torch and a set of mining tools. Zichen took the items and walked in. The mine was extremely dark. Under the gazes of the three people, Zichen lit the torch and walked into the dark mine. After watching Zichen disappear, one of them asked, is he the rumored person? Luo Biyu nodded. That's him. That person continued, too many people have died. I hope he can succeed this time. During this period of time, their people had tried many times, but none of them had survived. I hope so. Luo Biyu walked out of the room and saw a person standing outside. It was a person in the fifth strength realm. Luo Biyu approached him and cupped his fists in greeting. The person in the fifth strength realm asked, he went in? Luo Biyu nodded and said, he went in. The person in the fifth strength realm looked into the distance and muttered, I hope he can be faster. If he's too late, our location will be exposed. Luo Biyu asked in surprise, Sir, you think he can succeed? Perhaps. After all, he's someone who can find many killing crystals, the person in the fifth strength realm said. Once he succeeds, our overall battle strength will increase. Luo Biyu asked again, but what if he fails? The person in the fifth strength realm said indifferently, then he won't be able to come out. He can only feel regret. What I mean is, what if he doesn't gain anything and comes out alive? Luo Biyu said, even killing intent can't kill him. That kid is still a bit strange. We have to be careful in this situation. If that's the case, then it's even easier. The person in the 5th strength realm smiled and said, after all, he can still find killing crystals. Naturally, it's useful. Asterisk 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 Zi Chen kept going deeper and deeper, appearing to be very cautious. After going deeper for a while, Zi Chen stopped and looked behind him. He did not go in immediately, but stayed where he was. After a full 15 minutes, when no one else appeared, he felt relieved and walked in. It seemed that this place was dangerous enough that no one dared to follow him. Zi Chen's eyes flashed. He activated his celestial spiritual eye and everything around him became clear. He began to go deeper. At first, he was not familiar with this place. Therefore, he did not move quickly and walked slowly. Very soon, he saw a fork in the road and walked towards it. He was not sure where Wu Jingsha was, so he needed to go through the caves one by one. After another half an hour, after confirming that there were no other dangers, Zi Chen increased his speed. If he delayed any longer, the people of Dharma-shattering city might catch up with him. It would not be good if he got everyone involved. After walking to the end of the first fork, Zi Chen did not find anything. He started to run back. He continued to go deeper and changed his path when he encountered a fork. He did not know how much time had passed, but every time he encountered a fork in the road, he would make a mark in advance so that he would not get lost in this unfamiliar place. After repeating this for a while, Zi Chen finally found something when he reached the end of the road. There was a ball of martial force floating in front of him. It was condensed and did not dissipate. From afar, it looked like a living thing wriggling there. Zi Chen had the celestial spiritual eye, so he could see it clearly. If it was someone else holding a torch, they would definitely be shocked. Zi Chen walked forward, but he was still very careful. When he was about 5 feet away, the martial force started to change and seemed to become violent. When they were about 3 feet apart, the martial force suddenly flew toward him. This time, Zi Chen reacted in advance. He took out the bone rod and slashed forward. Wang! The bone rod swept past and scattered a ray of light. The martial force dissipated a little. Seeing this, Zi Chen's expression changed. He felt a little sorry. In the next moment, the scattered martial force landed on Zi Chen and immediately entered his body. The feeling of being on the verge of exploding appeared once again. However, this time, it was unknown if it was because his body had experienced it before. When Zi Chen felt uncomfortable, a suction force came from his heart and devoured all the martial force. In the blink of an eye, the martial force in front of Zi Chen disappeared. He did not feel any discomfort in his body. Chapter 50-44. The martial force in front of him had all disappeared. Zi Chen immediately went forward, feeling a little excited. If he could obtain a martial crystal, his cultivation level might increase again. At that time, he would have an additional ability to protect himself. Zi Chen was disappointed. There was no martial crystal at the end of the path. Only the energy that was condensed and did not dissipate after being absorbed would disappear. Zi Chen looked carefully. Indeed, there was no martial crystal. It seemed that he could only go to the next place. Along the way, he searched. During this time, he found a few places with martial force. However, he did not find a single martial crystal. Zi Chen could not understand this. According to his experience in finding killing crystals, there would definitely be killing crystals in places where killing intent gathered. However, this place was very strange. Zi Chen went to a few other places but still did not find anything. However, he absorbed a lot of martial force. This was a pleasant surprise. Estimating that some time had passed, Zi Chen walked out. The two of them were still guarding here. When they saw Zi Chen, they were very surprised. "You came out so quickly. Did you find something?" Zi Chen shook his head. "No, there's not a single martial crystal." The two of them looked at Zi Chen suspiciously. Zi Chen walked out of the room and saw Luo Biyu not far away. When Luo Biyu saw Zi Chen, he was very surprised and immediately walked over. "How was it? Did you find anything?" Zi Chen shook his head again. "No, other than some martial force, I didn't find any martial crystal." "Not a single one?" Luo Biyu asked. Not a single one. Zichen said, perhaps you'll find something if you dig a little deeper. During this time, Zichen also tried to dig some places. However, he was only one person, so he could only dig a few places symbolically. Moreover, the martial crystal here seemed to be very rare. It was not easy to dig it out. It would take a lot of time. However, what he lacked now was time. Really? Luo Biu asked again. Zichen looked at him. You don't trust me? It's not that I don't trust you, it's that I can't believe you. After all, this is a martial crystal stone mine. Yet, you're telling me that you haven't discovered any martial crystal stones. Luo Biu bitterly smiled. Tell me, how can I accept this? Zichen said, if you don't believe me, you can send people in to take a look now. The power of martial arts inside has almost disappeared, and there will be no danger if you go in again. Luo Biu waved his hand, and the two people who had followed him out immediately returned. It was obvious that the two of them had gone to investigate. Why did you come out so early? Luo Biu asked again. I've been here for quite some time. If I don't leave soon, others will find this place. At that time, you will be implicated. Zichen's reply caught Luo Biu off guard. He didn't expect this to be the reason. How thoughtful of you. Luo Biu smiled, however, it doesn't matter if you wait a little longer. We have the ability to protect you. Zichen didn't say anything. He saw a few more people entering the room. Clearly, many people were going to try to enter. In this way, everyone's speed would be faster. After about 2 hours, one of them walked out. He shook his head at Luo Biu and said, we haven't encountered any danger yet. Under normal circumstances, they would encounter danger very soon. This proved that Zichen wasn't lying. Can I leave now? Zichen looked at Luo Biu. Luo Biu said with a troubled expression, Zichen, it's not that I don't trust you, but this matter is very important. Therefore, I have to ask you to understand. Zichen opened his hands and said, you can search me. The martial crystal was not small. It was impossible to hide it on one's body. It could be seen at a glance. Luo Biu said, Zichen, we've already come to this point. We won't make things difficult for you. How about showing some sincerity? Is this not sincerity? Zichen looked at him. Luo Biu pointed at Zichen's ring. This is sincerity. This was obtained after killing Zhou Wen. It could store the things in this world. The kill crystals he obtained, as well as Zhou Wen's harvest, were all inside. He didn't expect Luo Biu to know about this ring. His expression changed, and he said, this won't do. Luo Biu smiled, Zichen, this is not up to you. Don't worry, we mean you no harm. We're just checking to see if you've fulfilled your promise. There were tens of thousands of strands of energy inside. At the same time, there were enough kill crystals to kill a 5th strength realm cultivator. It could be said that this was a supreme treasure. How could it fall into the hands of others? Moreover, if they wanted to check, they would have to open it. Would they return it to him after it was recognized? Seeing Zichen's hesitant expression, Luo Biu said, Zichen, where's the trust between us? Zichen's eyes flashed. Open it and prove your innocence. At this moment, someone walked over from afar and said, we never deceive others. We guarantee our credibility. No matter what's inside, as long as there are no martial crystals, it's still yours. The person who spoke was a 5th strength realm cultivator. Zichen's expression changed. It seemed that he had just escaped from the tiger's den not long ago, and now there were signs of stepping into the wolf's den. If a 5th strength realm cultivator attacked with all his might, he might be able to kill him. Of course, this was the worst-case scenario. Right now, there was another way, which was to take out the kill crystals and keep them by his side. This way, even if an accident happened, he would be able to take care of it. At this moment, another person walked over from afar. He said, what's going on here? He was also a 5th strength realm cultivator. Luo Biu said, I want to see if there are any martial crystals inside. Just taking a look. Is there a problem? The 5th strength realm cultivator looked at Zichen. No problem. Looking at the two 5th strength realm cultivators, Zichen had no intention of resisting. He took off the ring and handed it to Luo Bu. Luo Bu smiled faintly and opened it. Even though he had seen much of the world, he was still shocked when he saw what was inside. Then, his breathing quickened, and his eyes became fiery. How is it? Seeing that Luo Bu's expression was not right, the fifth strength realm cultivator immediately asked. There are no martial crystals, but sir, take a look at this. Luo Bu removed the ownership and handed the ring to one of them. After looking at it, the other person had the same expression. Then, the other fifth strength realm cultivator also saw it. The number of killing crystals shocked them greatly. No wonder Zi Chen was unwilling to let them see it. It turned out that there were so many kill crystals inside. Relatively speaking, the tens of thousands of kill crystals were nothing. Of course, it was still a shocking number, but it was not as precious as the kill crystals. Zi Chen said, since you've seen it, you can give it to me, right? The fifth strength realm cultivator smiled and said, Zi Chen, right? You're not honest. There are clearly martial crystals inside. Why did you say there aren't any? Zi Chen's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 50-45. The five strength realm looked at Zi Chen and said with disappointment, we had an agreement. Why didn't you keep your word? Zi Chen looked at him and remained silent. The five strength realm shook his head and said, the trust between us is gone. You have disappointed us. Luo Bu was stunned, but he quickly reacted. When he looked at Zi Chen again, there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. This guy was an idiot. There was such an important thing in the ring and he took it out. Stupid. Zi Chen took a deep breath. It was as expected. You didn't keep your word. Tell me, what do you want us to do? The five strength realm looked at Zi Chen and said bitterly, we hate people who don't keep their word. Zi Chen finally spoke, why don't you take out a piece of martial crystal? Let me take a look. The five strength realm was stunned. He did not expect Zi Chen to say that. He knew whether there was a martial crystal in the ring or not. Why? Do you think I'm accusing you? Do you think I can't take it out? The five strength realm's eyes turned cold and said indifferently, are you accusing me of coveting your things? Zi Chen did not want to continue this topic and asked directly, what do you want? The five strength realm sneered, now, I should be the one asking you what you want. Why don't I leave? Zi Chen looked at him. It would be a lie to say that he was not sullen. However, he was already here. What else could he do? Naturally, there was no trust between people. Zi Chen was not stupid. The reason why he took out the ring was because there were two five strength realm cultivators here. He could not kill them all at once. Leave. The five strength realm frowned, you are so untrustworthy. Do you think you can leave? Zi Chen said again, leave the ring and I'll leave. You should have left the ring. This is the price you have to pay for not keeping your word. The five strength realm said, so, this won't do. Then why don't you give me an idea? Zi Chen continued. His expression was very calm. He did not refute, as if he was really the one who did not keep his word. Luo Bu was watching from the side and found it very interesting. Wait here for now. You can only leave when we tell you to. All right. Zi Chen stood motionless in his original spot. The five strengths realm cultivator with the ring turned around and left. However, the other cultivator was still standing guard. He glanced at Luo Bu. Luo Bu understood the meaning behind this glance and immediately nodded to leave. A moment later, many people arrived, standing in the distance, pointing and commenting. Did you see that? This person is not trustworthy. We clearly agreed that we would split the martial crystals equally, but he actually wanted to keep them for himself. He claimed that he didn't find them, but we found the evidence. Luo Bu explained what had happened in a loud voice. Too shameless. How can we let such people stay? Kill him. That's right, kill him. You don't keep your word. How despicable. To think that we even wanted to take you in. After hearing the truth, everyone was filled with righteous indignation and threatened to kill Zi Chen. Zi Chen stood there and glanced at the crowd calmly. At this moment, there was no anger in his heart, only sorrow. These pitiful people who want to kill me, kill him. How dare you look over here? I've never seen someone as shameless as you. Ungrateful and ungrateful. You're really an ingrate. This kind of person can't live in this world. Everyone was enraged and shouted loudly. At this moment, Zi Chen had successfully aroused public anger. Everyone, no matter what, this is still a human life. Sir has decided to let him go, Luo Bu said. What? Why would he let such an untrustworthy person go? Sir is too kind. It wouldn't be too much to kill such a person 100 times. Zi Chen listened to those voices quietly, his expression still calm. Luo Bu looked at Zi Chen. Zi Chen's calmness made him feel a chill in his heart. The 5 strengths realm cultivator left and went to the outside world. He came to a deserted area and stood there. Not long after, another person appeared. He was the 5 strengths realm cultivator in charge of this matter. His name was Marcus. This time, he mobilized tens of thousands of people to find Zi Chen alone. As time passed, he had to pay a huge price every day. Fred, why are you looking for me? Marcus came in front of the 5 strengths realm cultivator. Fred said, the person you want is with me. A cold light flashed in Marcus' eyes. Fred continued, don't misunderstand. I have no ill intentions. I just want to make a deal with you. What kind of deal? Marcus asked. I know that kid. He can find killing crystals, so he's worth a lot. Fred said, I only have one request. When he's no longer of any use, kill him. If you agree, I'll give him to you. If you don't, I'll kill him. Will you be so kind? Marcus said coldly, or are you worried that we'll find something if we continue to search? Of course it won't be that simple. You need to give me 100,000 streams of energy. Fred said, compared to your aimless search and huge losses every day, this amount shouldn't be too much, right? It's not too much. I want him alive. Marcus agreed immediately. According to the information he received, Zi Chen was very good at finding killing crystals. Relatively speaking, 100,000 streams of energy was nothing. Okay, I'll bring him here 3 days later. We'll make the deal then. Okay. Fred turned and left, heading towards Jutian City. After Marcus went back, he signaled everyone to go back and stop the search. Fred returned. At this moment, Zi Chen was being cursed by everyone in the city. Their words were very unpleasant and merciless. Zi Chen remained silent the entire time. He did not defend himself, nor did he refute. The crowd only quieted down when Fred arrived. Everyone, although he's heartless, we can't be disloyal. Fred said loudly, we promised him that we'd let him leave alive, so we have to do what we said. Otherwise, won't we be like him and become people we hate? Everyone looked at Fred with agitated expressions and shouted his name loudly. Get lost. The reason why we let you go is because we don't want to become people like you. Hurry up and let him go. Every moment he stays here, I feel that it's an insult to Jutian City. Get lost quickly. Some people were cheering, while others were cursing. Zi Chen's expression was still calm. Explain. It was useless. It might even lead to a fatal disaster. Zi Chen had no choice but to accept the fact that he was a fish on the chopping block. Even so, he might not be able to survive. Although he felt aggrieved, he could only accept it. Let's go, I'll send you away, Fred said, because we promised that we'd let you leave alive. Zi Chen's heart jumped when he heard this. Was he going to kill him personally? Amidst the cursing, he left with Fred. Zi Chen had been on guard, worried that the other party would kill him. Chapter 50-46. Zi Chen saw an unfamiliar 5 strengths realm cultivator. It was Marcus. He was also looking at Zi Chen with a scrutinizing gaze. Fred walked closer and said with a smile, I have brought him here. Where are the items? Marcus waved his hand and a large amount of energy appeared. It was dazzling. Even Zi Chen was shocked. There were too many of them. In hindsight, he realized that after his things had been stolen, they were now being sold. After Fred kept the energy, he glanced at Marcus and said, don't forget our agreement. After saying that, he turned and left. He did not even look at Zi Chen. Zi Chen looked at Marcus. Marcus's expression was relatively calm. At the very least, he was still alive now. Along the way, he had guessed that Fred would kill him. Let's go. Marcus looked at Zichen and then turned to leave. Zichen followed him. Zichen's breath was unstable. Marcus threw a beam of energy to him. Zichen caught it and refined it as he walked. Don't think of running away. I will kill, Marcus said indifferently. Marcus said faintly, although you are somewhat useful, once you lose control, we will still kill you by force. Zichen followed behind and did not say anything. Marcus continued, we have already figured out the situation. The reason why you killed them was because they were unfair to you first. After you return this time, no one will target you again. Your duty is to find the killing crystals. Zichen looked at Marcus in surprise. However, he could only see his back. Before the deal, Fred said that after you are no longer useful, he will let me kill you. He also asked for 100,000 streams of energy. Marcus said without turning his head, you can rest assured. As long as you don't play any tricks, I will not kill the innocent. When this matter is over, I will bring you directly to Shatter Fa City. Zichen gritted his teeth. It would be a lie if he said that he was not angry. He had never felt so sullen before. It seemed that ever since he accepted Theseus's threat and left the Saint Spirit realm, he had been in this state. He had never had a moment of glory. I am very curious. If he knew you were useful, why did he let you come back? Marcus looked at Zichen for the first time. Zichen said, he asked me to help him find the martial crystal. In the end, he did not find the martial crystal, so he took the ring I snatched from Gavin. When Marcus heard this, he laughed. Sure enough, he will never wake up early if there is no benefit for him. There should be a lot of energy in the ring, right? All of Gavin's private goods are in it. There are tens of thousands of them. In addition, there is a batch of killing crystals enough to kill a 5-strength realm cultivator. Zichen did not hide the truth. Marcus was even more surprised. He laughed and said, it seems that Fred is going to be rich this time. With your personality, you didn't kill him directly. It seems like he's not the only 5-strength realm cultivator there. Zichen nodded. If there was only one person, he would die. You are also interesting. Marcus laughed. It seems that my luck is not bad. If I met you first, those killing crystals would have landed on me. Not bad at all. Zichen was very surprised by Marcus's carefree attitude. He said directly, I am just protecting myself. When you go back, as long as you do not court death, no one will dare to target you. That spellbreaker has also gone back and will not appear again. After Sang Larry left, Marcus learned more about the truth. He even learned from the beginning to the end. The conclusion he came to was not much different from what he knew. After all, he had walked into Spellbreaker City step by step from the outside. He knew what was going on here. The only difference was that Zichen was special. He was not killed. Instead, he started to fight back. The two of them walked forward in silence. After a while, Marcus broke the silence. Can I trust you? Zichen was stunned. He did not understand what Marcus meant. Can I trust you? Marcus asked again. Zichen could tell that the other party was asking seriously, so he asked, what about me? Can I trust you? Of course. Marcus nodded. What is in Spellbreaker City? Zichen asked the question that was on his mind. Marcus did not answer the question immediately. Instead, he looked deeply at Zichen. It was obvious that this person who had been running away and being chased was still curious about the city. Curiosity also meant that he was looking forward to it. There is a world. Marcus's answer stunned Zichen. This was somewhat unexpected. A world. Zichen did not dare to believe it. Was it not a city? Yes, a very big world. Marcus looked ahead and said, it might be even bigger than this place. How is that possible? Zichen was shocked. That city did not look like a world. What is in it? There are spellbreakers and spirit spellbreakers. What are spirit spellbreakers? Zichen knew about spellbreakers, but what were spirit spellbreakers? Zichen did not know. People like us are called spirit spellbreakers, Marcus explained. There are also a small number of shadow destroyers. It is just that there are very few of them. It is very rare to see them. Over there, spellbreakers are usually ranked higher than advanced spirit spellbreakers. Seeing Zi Chen's puzzled look, Marcus explained, for example, Saula Lee from last time. Although she was only at the 4th strength state, her status was slightly higher than mine. Why? Zi Chen did not understand. Why is her status 1 level higher when she is 1 level lower? Because spellbreakers are the original inhabitants of this place. This place originally belonged to them. The various rules of heaven and earth were prepared for them. We are just outsiders. Coming here to adapt to the rules is actually just a transition. Transition? What do you mean? Rumor has it that in the core of Spellbreaker City, there is a passageway that leads directly to the immortal spell realm. This was the first time Zi Chen heard the words immortal spell realm since coming here. Originally, he thought that this place had nothing to do with the immortal spell realm and was an unknown place. The passageway to the immortal spell realm was forcefully closed by an unknown force, causing the 10,000 spirit realm to be unable to enter the immortal spell realm. Therefore, everyone needs to pass through here. Seeing Zi Chen's shocked expression, Marcus shook his head and said, I don't know about the rest. What I told you was only told to me by a senior back then. But as for where the passageway is, no one knows. Many people even say that that place is just a fantasy. It is just a beautiful wish of a spirit spellbreaker. So, can I trust you? Marcus changed the topic again. Zi Chen nodded. Since Marcus had told him these secrets, he could naturally trust him. If he was trustworthy, he would not cheat him. Swoosh. Marcus threw an item over. Zi Chen caught it and realized that it was a ring. It is much more convenient with this by your side. Zi Chen immediately recognized the ring as its owner and opened it. He realized that there were thousands of strands of energy inside. Does Spellbreaker City have everything? Zi Chen asked. What do you want? Marcus looked at him. Wu Jingsha. Zi Chen said, I want to break through to the next realm. Marcus looked into Zi Chen's eyes and said, you actually want to take revenge? Yes. Zi Chen did not hide it. This time, he had suffered a great loss. He had to take revenge. Chapter 5047. Along the way, Marcus told Zi Chen some things about Pofa City. He could see that Marcus's attitude was very good, at least for now. Compared to Fred, the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. In a situation where he had no choice, Zi Chen was more willing to follow Marcus. What's a shadow destroyer? During this time, Zi Chen asked another question. Marcus had mentioned spellbreakers and spiritual spellcasters, but he did not mention shadow destroyers in detail. Spiritual spellcasters cultivate the body, spellbreakers cultivate the soul, and shadow destroyers cultivate both body and soul. Zi Chen was confused by Marcus's explanation. He clearly did not understand. Marcus continued, whether it's spiritual spellcasters or spellbreakers, at this stage, it's just a facade. Therefore, after the body dies, the Tao disappears. Only when one reaches the 6 forces state, spiritual spellcasters will have a real physical body, and spellbreakers will have real soul power. Shadow destroyers are compatible with both powers. They have the soul power of spellbreakers and the energy of spiritual spellcasters, so they are very rare. This change would only occur at the 6 forces state. Clearly, this was still very far from Zi Chen. After all, he was only at the 3rd force state. The two returned to the mineral vein. Along the way, many people looked at Zi Chen with strange expressions. In order to find him, tens of thousands of people were mobilized. There were also some people who were gloating. When they found Zi Chen last time, Zi Chen was beaten up. This time, it would be even worse. However, what they expected did not happen. After Zi Chen returned, not only did he not receive any punishment, he even became a small leader. Those from Pofa City treated him very well. On the same day, Marcus ordered many first force state cultivators to enter the mineral vein. Everyone was very confused. Wasn't Zi Chen supposed to collect killing crystals? Ordinary people could not come into contact with those things. Along the way, Zi Chen had already told Marcus that if they wanted to find more killing crystals, they would have to dig deeper. It was impossible to count on him alone. In fact, Zichen's idea was to gather some 4 Strengths Realm warriors. After all, they could temporarily resist the killing intent. As long as they didn't dig out a large amount of killing intent, they wouldn't be in any life-threatening danger. However, Marcus did not listen to this suggestion. Nevertheless, he did not want the strength boundary experts to risk their lives for nothing. Anyone who entered would be rewarded with 10 strands of power every day. Compared to the treatment they received back then, it was several times better. This moved many people. At the same time, Zichen, who had been appointed as the leader of this killing crystal mine, warned everyone to slow down and retreat as soon as they discovered danger. Survival was the most important thing. Of course, if they were to cheat, they would be punished. Marcus showed enough sincerity, and in order to show his sincerity, Zichen went in on the same day and came out the next day with 13 killing crystals of irregular shapes. Marcos couldn't help but smile when he saw this. As expected, being honest with each other was the only way to solve problems. As for the people who came with Marcus, their eyes were wide open. This efficiency was too terrifying. Marcus was in a good mood. On the same day, he gave everyone who entered the mine an extra strand of power as a reward. This made many second strength boundary experts envious. They wanted to go in together. Compared to the first strength boundary experts, their ability to resist killing intent was stronger. Compared to being a guard here, how could they gain more by going in? Marcus did not stop them. Anyone who wanted to go in could go in and test it out. Therefore, every day during the day, everyone would carry baskets into the mine. At night, they would carry baskets of waste rocks out. These baskets represented their day's harvest. After these waste rocks were brought out, they would be screened again to see if there were any crystals or hidden killing crystals inside. Zichen walked in the mine, looking for dangerous areas. When everyone retreated when they encountered danger, he would enter the danger zone and use the massacre spirit to absorb the killing intent. Then, he would dig out the killing crystals. On the second day, Zichen did not gain anything. On the third day, he gained 15 crystals. On the fourth day, he gained 18 crystals. Zichen's efficiency was surprisingly high. Everyone was shocked. Those professionals in Pofa City were not as efficient as Zichen. Everyone was very curious as to how Zichen did it, but no one asked. After accumulating more than 300 killing crystals, Marcos made a trip back to Lapa City. During this time, Zichen stayed in the mine and did not appear. He kept all the killing crystals in his ring. Although no one made things difficult for him during this time, Zichen did not want to cause trouble at this time. He just waited quietly for Marcus to return. Ever since he came here with Miao Pengfei, he had been in a passive position. Therefore, he tried his best to avoid trouble. 8 days later, Marcus returned. When Zichen heard the news, he walked out of the mine and took out the harvest of these 8 days. It was close to 200 crystals. Your efficiency is really shocking. Marcus sighed. Even those people in Pofa City are not as efficient as you. Then, Marcus took out an item and threw it to Zichen. This is for you. Zichen reached out and caught it. He felt a strong martial energy from it. This is a martial crystal. Zichen's expression changed. He could not believe it. I promised you, so I naturally have to do it. Marcos smiled and said, recently, we have been cooperating very well. This can be considered as a show of sincerity. The energy contained in the martial crystal was much stronger than the scattered martial energy. Zichen hoped to break through again. I've given you the martial crystal, but you can't affect the progress of the killing crystals. You can still refine them appropriately, Marcus said. Zichen nodded to show that he understood. In the following days, Zichen controlled the number of killing crystals to be around 10 crystals per day. This speed was not slow. He began to refine the martial crystal for the rest of the time. Time passed. Marcus returned with the killing crystals for the second time. Zichen sat in the depths of the mine. During this period, he had not finished refining the martial crystal. Therefore, he had to make full use of this time and concentrate on refining. He sat cross-legged. The energy of the martial crystal was constantly entering his body. After the energy entered his body, part of it was absorbed by his body, and part of it was absorbed by his heart. After the heart absorbed the energy, it would release it at a very slow speed. Bang! 2 days later, the martial crystal in Zichen's hand shattered. The energy in it was finally exhausted. However, he did not break through. The main reason was that his heart had absorbed nearly half of the energy. Only when the energy was released could he truly break through. Therefore, Zichen began to mine the martial crystal. During this period, every beat of his heart would send out a stream of energy. Another 2 days passed. Zichen broke through. Buzz. Chapter 50-48. A piece of martial crystal helped Zichen break through again. Feeling the powerful aura of the fourth force state, his face revealed a hint of excitement. He finally broke through again. If he had been in the fourth strength state last time, he would not have been so passive and could not even protect his ring. He seemed to have been sullen since he came here. Zichen's eyes flashed with a rare coldness. He, who had always been gentle, showed his sharpness at this moment. The fourth strength state gave him the ability to take revenge. It seems that I need to save up some killing crystals. Zichen looked around. Without killing crystals, it would be difficult for him to fight against someone in the fifth strength state. This time, he must take revenge. Zichen began to get busy until Marcus returned. Zichen took the killing crystals and walked out. There were quite a few of them. Marcus shifted his gaze away from the crystal and looked at the 4 strands of power surrounding Zichen. He said with some surprise, "You broke through so quickly." Zichen nodded and said, "I want revenge." "What?" Marcus was stunned. Zichen told him what happened, including the truth that those people saw. The existence of the rebel army is indeed a problem. It's not a big deal to destroy them. Marcus said hesitantly, "But you're only in the 4th strength state now. How can you kill 2 in the 5th strength state?" Zichen said confidently, "I have confidence in using killing crystals." In fact, Zichen's biggest confidence was not in the killing crystals, but in the massacre spirit. After staying here for such a long time, he found many killing crystals, but he found even more killing intent. These killing intents were all absorbed by the massacre spirit. Therefore, Zichen, who was only in the 4th strength state, was confident that he could kill someone in the 5th strength state. After hesitating, Marcus shook his head. "No, it's too dangerous. It doesn't matter if we lose some killing crystals, but if you die, our losses will be too great. How about this, you wait patiently. I'll help you find more martial crystals. Although they won't be very useful, if you get a few more, you might be able to break through again. When you reach the 5 strength state, it will be much easier." Zichen could tell that Marcus really cared for him. However, he did not know how long it would take to break through to the 5 forces realm. Zichen did not want to wait. This was no small matter, and Marcus could not make up his mind. To them, Zichen was really important. However, Zichen's attitude was very firm. Marcus thought for a moment and said, "Are you sure you have the confidence to kill Fred?" Zichen nodded. "You also said that there are 2 5 powers realm cultivators there. It shouldn't be a problem to prepare more kill crystals." Zichen thought for a moment and said, "If there are more, it might be dangerous. But I will run away when the situation is not good." "This is good too," Marcus said, "I'll go with you. If we can't escape, at least we can take care of each other." Zichen looked at Marcos and felt touched. Ever since he came here, he had never met a single person with a conscience. Marcus was clearly different from the rest. "Prepare, prepare. No matter whether you succeed or not, you can't die." Marcus said in a deep voice, "This time, I'm letting you go without permission. If you die, I'll be in trouble. Don't worry, I'll be fine." Zichen turned and entered the mineral vein. Then, he began to search for as many kill crystals as possible. 5 days later, Zichen walked out of the mineral vein. Marcus was already waiting for him. "Let's go." The 2 of them walked out of the mineral vein, standing on a mountain peak. Zichen looked at Juqian City from afar. So, they were hiding here. No wonder Fred took the initiative to show up last time. Marcus stood beside Zi Chen and said, "Remember, you must be careful. If you can't beat them, run in this direction." Zi Chen nodded and then rushed down the mountain peak. Marcus looked at Zi Chen's back and murmured, "Don't die." As someone who came to Pofa City from the outside, he understood Zi Chen very well. It was not easy for him to survive until now. Therefore, he gave Zi Chen the authority. If Zi Chen succeeded, it would not benefit him at all. However, if he failed and died inside, he would be in big trouble. Therefore, he began to pray. Zi Chen walked towards Jutian City. Just as he reached the gate, someone walked out. When they saw that person, Zi Chen was stunned. The other person was also stunned. "Hu Zheng, it's you?" The person at the gate was the one who first told Zi Chen about Wu Jingsha and the rebel army. "Zi Chen, it's you?" Hu Zheng was also very surprised. He was even a little happy. However, his expression soon changed. "I heard about you. Master has already let you go. Why are you here again?" Zi Chen did not answer Hu Zheng. Seeing him here, he understood many things. "It seems that they know about my existence. You should be the one who told them, right?" "I told them. I wanted to help you, but I didn't expect you to do such a thing." Hu Zheng was very disappointed. "Master has already let you go. Why are you here again?" Zi Chen said, "The master you are talking about took my ring that day. There were tens of thousands of energy and hundreds of killing crystals inside. I am here to ask for them." "That's impossible." Hu Zheng's expression changed. Master did not say anything about this. He only said that Zi Chen did not keep his promise and stole the martial crystals. However, he still let Zi Chen go. "You have been following Shaman. You should know that he has a special ring, right?" Zi Chen said, "After I killed Jiao Wen, that ring was mine." "Then what about Wu Jingsha?" Hu Zheng still could not believe it. "You have seen Wu Jingsha?" Zi Chen glanced at Hu Zheng, then strode toward Gathering Sky City. Hu Zheng turned around and looked at Zi Chen with a complicated expression. They knew about Zi Chen because of Hu Zheng's news. Zi Chen did not embezzle their energy and even saved many people. Therefore, he wanted to help Zi Chen. However, after hearing about Zi Chen, he was very disappointed. He felt that he could not judge a book by its cover. Today, he saw Zi Chen again. Zi Chen's words made him waver. "Fred, get out here." Zi Chen shouted as soon as he entered Jutian City. His voice spread out, attracting the attention of many people. Hu Zheng, who was about to leave, stood there and watched silently. Then, he realized that Zi Chen was in the 4th strength state. How long had it been? He broke through again. This shout caused many people to recognize Zi Chen. All of them were stunned at first, but then they started to curse and curse. "Kid, didn't you leave? Why did you come back? Do you want to die? I let you go last time, but you don't know how to be grateful. How dare you come out? Kill him." Everyone shouted. Murderous intent surged as they charged forward. "Zi Chen, how dare you?" Luo Bu heard the commotion and hurried over. "Are you here to die?" Boom. Zi Chen suddenly rushed forward and pressed his palm on Luo Bu's head, creating a huge commotion. Chapter 5049. Zi Chen pressed down on Luo Bu's head and slammed it on the ground. Boom. The ground caved in and cracked like a spider web. The others who were still cursing were shocked when they saw this and quickly retreated. At this moment, they noticed that Zi Chen was no longer in the 3rd realm but the 4th realm. They stood in the distance and watched this scene in shock. Zi Chen picked up Luo Bu again and said coldly, "I trusted you, so I gave you the ring. What happened in the end?" Luo Bu sneered and said, "In the end, I found that you had martial crystals in your ring. You didn't keep your word." Poof. A ray of light flashed and broke Luo Bu's arm. Luo Bu's expression changed. He glared at Zi Chen and shouted, "How dare you?" Poof. Zi Chen looked at Luo Bu and said no more. A ray of light appeared again, and the other arm was broken. Zi Chen was smiling, but this smile looked like a demon to Luo Bu. This was completely different from the Zi Chen he knew. Zi Chen was still holding Luo Bu's head tightly. A ray of light appeared again, and with a poof, his right leg was gone. Ah! Luo Bu screamed in horror. He felt like he had seen a real demon. Stop! Seeing this, the people outside immediately shouted. Come over if you want to die. Zichen's eyes were cold. He swept his gaze around, and endless killing intent surged. Everyone was stared at by Zichen and did not dare to step forward. Poof! Luo Bu's last leg was gone, and he was now a human stick. Ah, it wasn't me, I didn't take it. Luo Bu was terrified and kept screaming. At this moment, it was difficult for him to recover. He felt his life slipping away. You betrayed my trust. Zichen said, I trusted you, so I gave you the ring. In the end, you coveted my killing crystal. It wasn't me, it wasn't me. Luo Bu kept shouting. You were there at that time. The ring wasn't with me, I didn't take it. If you continue to watch the show and don't come out, I'm going to twist his head off. Zichen suddenly looked in a certain direction. My lord, save me, save me. Luo Bu shouted loudly. Because of his excessive fear, his voice cracked. Last time, I was kind enough to let you go, but I didn't expect you to come back. You even used such a heavy hand on my people. How dare you? Fred's voice sounded. The crowd dispersed and Fred walked out. His eyes were cold as he looked at Zichen. You ungrateful thing. Quickly release Luo Bu. Luo Bu, on the other hand, looked at Zichen with a pleading expression. At this moment, he felt an intense threat of death. Buzz! Rays of light crisscrossed in Zichen's hands and disintegrated Luo Bu's body. His body fell to the ground in several pieces and then disappeared into thin air. The crowd was in an uproar. They never thought that the other party would be so bold as to kill someone directly. Was he tired of living? You want to die? Fred's eyes were filled with murderous intent. I hate people who don't keep their promises the most. Zichen turned around and looked at Fred. We agreed that I would show him the ring and he would return it to me if there were no martial crystals. In the end, he went back on his word and gave the ring to you. Fred rebuked angrily, you're talking nonsense. There are clearly martial crystals in there. Zichen smiled mockingly. Is that so? Then I wonder who you gave the martial crystals in there to. Zichen looked at the crowd. Did any of you receive the martial crystals as a reward? The crowd was silent. Many people looked at Fred. This kid has a sharp tongue. Don't listen to his nonsense. Fred said coldly, last time, I let him go in front of everyone. I didn't expect him to be so ungrateful and bite back today. Zichen sneered. You let me go. You have the nerve to say that. You sold me out with 100,000 streams of energy. You didn't let me go. As soon as these words came out, it caused another uproar. 100,000 strands of energy was definitely a huge number to the people present. Regardless of whether this was true or not, this number gave them a fright. Nonsense, it's a bunch of nonsense. Fred said, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Is it worth 100,000 streams of energy? You know whether it's worth 100,000 streams of energy or not. Zichen said, do you know why I came out of there that day? Zichen pointed to the room where there was an entrance to the mineral vein underground. Fred said, you found the martial crystals, so you naturally wanted to run away. You didn't expect to be discovered by us. Zichen said, since I found the martial crystals, why didn't I refine them inside? Why did I come out? Why did I run away? Don't tell me you dare to go in and find me. Fred was stunned and then said, you naturally felt uneasy refining them inside, so you wanted to run away. You're half right. I really didn't feel at ease. Zichen sneered and said, because I was being searched for by tens of thousands of people, so I didn't want to stay here for too long. I didn't want to implicate you and the people living here. So when I didn't find the martial crystals, I chose to leave immediately. I didn't want to implicate you. But who would have thought that you took the ring I got after killing Gavin? Not only did you take the energy and the killing crystal, but you also slandered me for taking the martial crystals. That's not all. The most terrible thing is that you used 100,000 streams of energy to make a deal with the people chasing me and sold me out. As soon as these words came out, many people's faces changed. They looked at Fred one after another, searching for the truth in their eyes. Don't talk nonsense here. If what you said is true, why didn't you say it last time? Fred rebuked angrily. Because I was only in the 3rd strength state last time. I wasn't qualified to tell the truth. Zichen said, and I'm not here today to seek justice, so you don't have to worry. Then why are you here? I'm here to kill you. Zichen's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. I'm here to kill you. Fred smiled sarcastically. Zichen also sneered and turned around immediately. He raised his hand and dozens of killing crystals flew out. Do you really think I'm an idiot? It turned out that another 5th strength state was trying to sneak behind Zichen and launch a sneak attack. Pa. 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 The killing crystals exploded and the murderous intent raged, drowning the 5th strength state. Zichen looked at him indifferently and kept throwing out killing crystals, one after another. Exclamations came from all around and everyone started to retreat. They weren't like the 5th strength state who didn't fear the murderous intent. As they retreated, their expressions were filled with shock. Each killing crystal was expensive, but Zichen actually used them as hidden weapons. Pa. 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 The killing crystals were still exploding. The raging murderous intent surrounded the 5th strength state and kept strangling him. The 5th strength state blocked the murderous intent and moved forward. Obviously, he naively thought that as long as he could block the murderous intent and get close to Zichen, he could kill him. At this moment, Zichen took out the bone rod and smashed it down. A ray of light scattered and the 5th strength state was knocked back by the rod. Wang. At the same time, the killing spirit appeared and directly attacked Fred, who was getting close to Zichen. Puff. Chapter 50-50. Fred approached Zichen, wanting to launch a sneak attack from behind. As far as he knew, no matter how many killing crystals Zichen had, it was impossible for him to be a match for 2 5-strength realm martial artists. As long as the two of them could block a wave of killing crystals, they would definitely be able to kill him. The bone staff surprised him. This kind of weapon was very rare in the outer region, but it was not enough to make him afraid. Puff. But in the next moment, a ray of light pierced through his mind. There was no warning. He only felt his vision blur, and he did not even have the necessary reaction. It was like being bitten by a mosquito. There was some stinging pain, but that was it. A loud cry came from afar. Everyone looked at Fred in shock. Because there was a hole in his head. Just as the spirit of massacre hit its target, another 100 killing crystals appeared in Fred's field of vision. He let out a cry of surprise and wanted to retreat. Because in this short period of time, he had already noticed the abnormality in his body. Pa. 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 Nearly 100 killing crystals appeared in front of Fred. The boundless killing intent was like the sharpest sword in the world. Wang. Trembling and buzzing, the killing intent pierced through Fred's body. Swoosh. The killing spirit flew back to Zichen's side. Without stopping, it continued forward and pierced through the 5-strength realm martial artist's head. What is this? The 5-strength realm martial artist, who was completely engulfed by the killing intent, shouted in horror. The bone staff smashed down for the second time, and a dangerous ray of light scattered. Bang! The 5-strength realm martial artist was sent flying. Puff. 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 During this time, the killing spirit shuttled back and forth, almost piercing a big hole in the opponent's head. Hu Zheng stood in the distance, looking at this scene in shock. Even further away, Marcus had a look of shock on his face. He was worried about Zichen, so he wanted to take a closer look. If Zichen was in danger, he could take Zichen away. But he didn't expect to see such a shocking scene. He had never seen that bone staff before. That beam of spiritual light also made him extremely shocked. As fast as lightning, there was no way to avoid it. Pu. Pu. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the 5-strengths realm in front of Zichen was almost turned into a sieve by the killing intent and the spirit of slaughter. With so many holes, it was a ghastly sight. Let me go. It's not me, it's Fred. He did it. I have nothing to do with this. The 5-strengths realm cultivator shouted in fear. At this moment, his life was in danger. He no longer cared about his status and started to beg for mercy. His words proved the authenticity of Zichen's words. For a time, the crowd was in an uproar, and their feelings became incomparably complicated. At this moment, the beliefs that they had always believed in were greatly impacted. If you hadn't been there, I would have killed him that day. Zichen took a step forward. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he smashed down with his bone club. Bang! A large expanse of light scattered, carrying with it Zichen's spell-breaking technique. The body of the 5 strengths realm, which was riddled with holes, was directly disintegrated. The light scattered, and the 5 strengths realm cultivator's body disappeared. Zichen turned around and looked at Fred. At this moment, the other party was not much better. There were about a dozen wounds on his body. Although there was no blood flowing out, his life was quickly draining away. "Don't kill me, don't kill me." He began to retreat, choosing to escape. Zichen followed behind, his eyes cold. Fred must die this time. Fred rushed into the crowd, immediately grabbed a few people, and threw them at Zichen like hidden weapons. The surrounding people cried out in alarm and quickly fled. They simply couldn't believe that this was something that the usually kind lord would do. Zichen's figure flashed, avoiding the attacks of the human figures. Pu. The spirit of slaughter attacked powerfully, attacking the target with incomparable precision. After more than 10 times, the light on the spirit of slaughter dimmed, and Fred fell down powerlessly. He turned around and looked at Zichen in horror. Spare me, spare me." Zichen did not approach him. Instead, he stood far away, and the spirit of slaughter madly attacked again. Zichen even threw out dozens of killing crystals, which landed on Fred's head. "Go to hell!" Fred roared, the horror in his eyes turned into resentment, and he pounced at Zichen. In his hand, he held a long saber tightly. On the long saber, there was a strong murderous intent. Zichen did not move from his spot. Another few dozen killing crystals landed on his body. The murderous intent raged wildly. Fred finally fell down, and his body dissipated. Zichen went forward and picked up the long saber. This was a real weapon, not a unique wooden weapon in this world. At the same time, a ring fell to the side. Zichen picked it up. Then, under everyone's gaze, Zichen walked to the place where the 5 strengths realm cultivator died and picked up another ring. When he opened it, the amount of energy inside made him speechless. Then, he looked at the wooden house. There was a mineral vein inside, and there might be martial crystals in the mineral vein. He was going to take a look inside. "Zichen, it's time to go." Marcus's voice came from behind. Zichen gave up the idea of going in to explore again. He took out nearly 10,000 streams of energy, placed it on the ground, and turned to leave. Everyone watched Zichen leave, their eyes filled with complicated emotions. At this moment, their faith collapsed. When Zichen passed by Hu Zheng opened his mouth, but did not know what to say. "I appreciate your kindness." Zichen nodded at Hu Zheng, and said, "If you have nowhere to go, go to the mineral vein and find me." With that, Zichen left. As the two of them walked back, Marcus laughed at himself and said, "It seems that I made a very wise choice back then." Zichen had such means. If he really fought to the death, he might be able to kill a 5 strengths realm cultivator. Marcus did the opposite of the others. He chose to live peacefully with Zichen and work together for benefits. Undoubtedly, he did the right thing. "Did you want to go to the martial crystal vein?" Marcus asked. Zichen nodded. He did have that idea. "Although you killed Fred, the rebel army has been around for many years. There's more than one Fred." Marcus said, "They have a complete set of survival systems, and there are stronger people behind them. I guess someone has already tipped them off." Zichen's expression changed. He thought that this was the rebel army's headquarters, but he did not expect it to be just one of their bases. Involuntarily, he sped up. At the same time, he was glad that Marcus followed him. Otherwise, according to his personality, he would definitely go to the mineral vein and explore it again. Chapter 50-51. It could easily kill 2 5-strength state cultivators, and it was a higher level battle. It was a waste of talent to leave such an existence here to mine. Zichen looked forward to Pofa City. After hearing what Marcus said, he was tempted. Can I go? You can, but I'm afraid you'll have to get more kill crystals. Otherwise, it won't be easy to explain. Marcus said, why don't I bring you to Pofa City to take a look the next time I go back? Okay. Zichen nodded. The two of them returned to the original mine. A 4-strength state cultivator who was guarding here informed them that 12 people had died in succession. So many died. Zichen was surprised. He had repeatedly warned them to retreat as soon as they discovered even the slightest danger. Under normal circumstances, as long as they retreated in time and replenished their energy in time, their lives would not be in danger. The situation is not good. There are abnormalities in many places, but we don't know the exact reason. Why don't you go in and take a look? The 4-strength state cultivator said. Okay, let someone lead the way. Zichen, who had just returned, entered the mine again. After taking revenge, he was in a good mood. A 2-strength state cultivator led the way. He looked at Zichen from time to time with mixed feelings. When Zichen first arrived, he knew that Zichen would not live for long when he saw Zichen being suppressed by Gavin and the others. He did not expect that Zichen would kill Gavin and the others and break through to the 4-strength state. However, he was still stuck here. It was obvious that there was no comparison between people. It's just in front. Putting away his mixed feelings, the 2-strength state cultivator pointed ahead and said, go deeper and enter from the cave on the left. You'll find abnormalities there. This is the first place with abnormalities. Most of the people who died were not in the same place. You can go out first. Zichen planned to go to the first place to take a look. Zichen followed the 4-strength state cultivator's guidance and entered the mine. Immediately, he felt that the surrounding temperature had dropped. Buzz. The slaughter spirit appeared and took the lead to charge forward. All this time, it had always been the one to make the first move and absorb the killing intent. Then, Zichen would go in and dig up the other killing crystals. Zichen followed behind. As they ventured deeper, he realized that the chill did not decrease. Instead, it became even more intense. He frowned slightly and continued to walk forward. Finally, they reached the end. There was no longer any murderous energy surging in the air, but the temperature was still very low. There was a bone-chilling feeling. What happened? There was doubt in his eyes as he walked forward. Then, he saw a crystal. This killing crystal was extremely translucent and was about the size of a human head. There was a palm in the middle. The lingering chill in the surroundings came from this place. In the crystal stones of the mineral vein, there would occasionally be some things sealed. For example, the long whip that was snatched away by Sanglari came from an energy crystal stone. However, Zichen had been collecting kill crystals for so long, and he had never seen anything inside a kill crystal. Zichen could easily deal with the killing intent contained within the killing crystal. However, the aura of the same killing crystal was enough to make Zichen feel threatened. This kind of killing crystal was obviously even more terrifying. He tried to dig out the killing crystal. At this moment, the killing crystal suddenly shattered. An aura like a snowstorm suddenly appeared in front of him and raged in all directions. Even though the slaughter spirit immediately stood in front of Zichen and blocked him. However, Zichen's body was still pierced with more than a dozen holes. The powerful force pushed him back until he smashed into the stone wall. He looked ahead in shock. Swoosh. At this moment, the palm suddenly moved forward. Like lightning, it grabbed Zichen's neck tightly. A powerful force surged over. The other party seemed to want to break Zichen's head directly. Pu. 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 The massacre spirit flew over quickly and attacked the palm continuously, piercing through it again and again. Zichen also grabbed the palm tightly. When he stopped the other party from exerting force, there was light flowing in his palm. Streaks of Dharma breaker power appeared like rules, constantly changing in front of him. After a few attacks, the palm finally gave in and dissipated into thin air. Zichen leaned against the wall of the cave and kept coughing. The massacre spirit flew back and forth quickly, devouring the remaining killing intent. Zichen immediately took out 2 streams of energy and started to replenish the life he lost. His face was full of fear. Fortunately, He had the massacre spirit and could ignore the killing intent. Otherwise, he would have died without a doubt. After Chen recovered, he found that the killing intent around him did not disappear. Instead, it became stronger. This situation was like standing naked in a world of ice and snow. It was bone-chilling. What's going on? Chen walked forward and found that there was an even bigger killing crystal at the place where the killing crystal shattered. Only a small part of it was exposed. Chen did not know how big it was inside. Chen lowered his head and looked forward. He saw an eye through the killing crystal. Just as he looked at the eye, he found that the eye suddenly opened. It was a merciless eye. Swoosh. Chen's face changed and he quickly retreated. Previously, it was just a palm and it almost took his life. Now, it was a moving eye. He could only see an eye, but he could not rule out the possibility that it was a complete life form sealed in the killing crystal. If that was the case, the consequences would be unimaginable. Once Chen dug it out, he probably would not be able to walk out of here alive. Chen did not dare to try again and decided to change to another place. He went out to look for someone and led the way to the second mineral vein. Here, Chen saw a similar situation. A complete skeleton was sealed in one of the huge killing crystals. The skeleton was as white as jade and seemed to be somewhat sacred. It was extremely extraordinary. Chen did not dare to act rashly and retreated from inside. After that, the same situation occurred in several other places. Moreover, Chen found that these mines were not far from each other. If he calculated the distance carefully, he estimated that they were all in the same place. Chen walked out with an ugly expression on his face. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked. Chen told him about the situation inside. When Marcus heard it, his face changed. "It's a strange creature. Stop digging. It will be troublesome if you dig it out." Chen looked at Marcus. Something similar happened in Pofa City. Someone dug out a skeleton, but the skeleton broke the killing crystal on its own and killed everyone. After that, it disappeared. Marcus' face was pale when he talked about this incident. At that time, he was only in the third strength state and was not valued in Pofa City. It was because of that incident that many people died that he became useful. "Stop digging. Come with me to Pofa City. We have to report the situation here," Marcus said with a serious expression. "It seems that this is not just a killing crystal mine. Tell the others to retreat. Only leave some people to watch." In a short span of 2 days, the bustling mine had become deserted. Marcus brought Chen with him and walked towards Lapa City. A few days after the two left, a stranger suddenly came to the mineral vein. As soon as the stranger appeared, he displayed a terrifying aura. Chapter 50-52. As the powerful pressure descended, fear appeared on everyone's faces. They looked up at the sky and saw a person standing in the air. An existence that could fly. Everyone was shocked. In the outside world, such a person was not rare, but in this place, it was unbelievable. This was beyond many people's imagination. "Chen, come out," the person shouted, and his voice spread like thunder. Aura continued to descend from the sky like layers of expanding waves. The people could not withstand the aura, and they all fell to the ground. Sir, Chen is not here." A second strength state cultivator mustered up his courage and said with a trembling voice. "Where did he go?" The person asked indifferently. There was no energy around him, and no one could tell his true level. "He went to Pofa City." The person glanced in the direction of Pofa City, and his eyes flashed with coldness. He glanced at the people below, and these second strength state cultivators did not even dare to breathe loudly. They were terrified. The person turned and left, and did not make things difficult for them. After the person left, the people did not get up for a long time. It was too terrifying. Why was there such a terrifying existence here? Chen, Marcus, and the people he had brought along previously arrived at the outskirts of Pofa City. At a close distance, the city was extremely tall, and the city walls were wide and thick. Marcus then took out a token and activated it, bringing Zi Chen into Pofa City. After entering Pofa City, Zi Chen saw a straight road, and there were rows of buildings on both sides of the road. There were people on the street, and each of them had 3 types of energy surrounding them. 3 types of energy is the most basic here. Marcus explained, and at the same time, he brought Zi Chen forward. Outside a mansion, Marcus said, "Yunai, bring Zi Chen to our place. I'll go inside and report the situation to the Lord." Yunai, who was a 4th strength state cultivator, nodded and brought Zi Chen forward. Along the way, Zi Chen heard the sound of iron being forged. It turned out that they had passed by a blacksmith shop, but there were no finished weapons outside the shop. "Is there iron here?" Zi Chen asked curiously. "It's extracted from ores. It's called extreme star iron. It can be used to forge weapons." Yunai said, "Don't underestimate this place. Compared to the outside world, this place is more like a complete world. Not only those things outside, but also food." Food? Zi Chen was stunned and could not believe it. Didn't they say that one would only have a real body after reaching the 6 forces state? Why would there be food? Yunai smiled and said, "Guess." Zi Chen's eyes immediately widened. Could it be a creature of the 6 forces state? That's right. To you and me, that thing is a luxury. Eating a piece of it won't make you gain weight. Instead, it might make you bankrupt. Along the way, Zi Chen saw a few more shops, but there was no doubt that there were no finished products. Because every finished product would be pre-ordered in advance, there was no way to wait until the moment it was put on the shelves. Along the way, Zi Chen's horizons were broadened and he was amazed. This place was not much different from the Saint Spirit realm. However, in this place, it was incomparably magical. Because of the rules, those that could exist in reality were extremely extraordinary. For example, the current Zi Chen was at most an energy body. Yunai pointed to the surroundings and said, "Without the token, you can't leave Pofa City from here. It's like 2 separate worlds." Yunai brought Zi Chen to a place to rest and waited for Marcus to return. Not long after, Marcus returned. "Let's go. Sir wants to see you." He brought Zi Chen to the previous mansion, which had the words Ape Mansion written on it. This reminded Zi Chen of the Devil Ape. He wondered what level they were at now and whether they were doing well. After entering the mansion, he saw some servants along the way. They were all in the 3 forces state. As Marcus passed by, these servants bowed to him. At this moment, Zi Chen seemed to understand why Kevin was unwilling to come to Pofa City back then. They were both in the 3 forces state, but Kevin was more carefree outside. Perhaps it was because of this that he became unruly and walked onto a path of death in the end. When they arrived at the hall, an old man was sitting there. "Sir, I've brought Zi Chen." Marcus cupped his fists and said. Zi Chen looked at the old man. There was no energy around him, but Zi Chen did not dare to underestimate him. Right now, he was more curious than anything else. Could it be that he was in the 6 forces state? "You're the Zi Chen that Sang Lolly said he must kill?" The old man asked calmly. "That's me." Zi Chen cupped his fists. "Have a seat." The old man gestured for the 2 of them to sit. "Speaking of which, we've benefited from your efforts." Zi Chen did not understand, but he did not ask. The old man said, "Tell me about what you saw. What's so special about it?" Zi Chen stood there and explained everything in detail, including the moving eye and the skeleton sitting cross-legged in the killing crystal. The old man's expression was calm at first, but gradually, it became serious. In the end, he said directly, "Don't go to that place." "What are those?" Zi Chen asked curiously. "It might be an ancient battlefield sealed by the killing crystal. Some are completely dead, but some can be revived with the help of killing intent. Once they appear, it will be a disaster." The old man looked at Marcus and said, "Get someone to seal that place. Don't go there again." Marcus nodded and said, "Sir, Zi Chen wants to stay here." "I wonder, 4 forces state is fine." The old man nodded slowly. "However, his situation is a little special. If he stays here, it will be troublesome." "Is it Sang Lolly? Who else could it be?" The old man said helplessly, "She's been here a few times recently." Chen naturally had an impression of that woman. He had never seen such a despicable person. If he had the chance, he would definitely kill her. Then what should I do? Just stay outside, the old man said helplessly. If you stay outside, Sang Lolly can't do anything to you. If you stay in Shatter Fa City, you'll be in danger. Looking at Marcus's unwilling expression, the old man continued, this time, we owe it to you. When you go back, you'll be in charge of that area. It's under our control now. It was obvious that Chen was going to replace Gavin and completely rule over that area. To Chen, it was undoubtedly a promotion. The two of them walked out. Marcus looked at the silent Chen and said, Chen, don't blame Sir. To be honest, the Breakers have too much power here. Sir didn't let you stay for your own good. Chen nodded and said, I know. It's him. Kill him. Suddenly, a voice came from the front. Chapter 50-53. Saula Lee led 2 4th strength state cultivators towards them. When Marcus saw them, his expression changed. Saula Lee, what are you doing? Saula Lee was aggressive and obviously had ill intentions. Get lost. This has nothing to do with you. Saula Lee's voice was cold and the whip in her hand was already lashing out. She was only a 4th strength state cultivator, but she had no respect for a 5th strength state cultivator. Chen's figure flashed and he retreated, avoiding the attack. He looked at Saula Lee with a cold gaze. You dare to dodge? Saula Lee snorted and moved forward again. Her whip was like a snake as it swept towards Chen. You can attack here? Chen asked while dodging. His gaze was cold. This was considered an enemy meeting. If there were no rules here, he would not mind killing her. Marcus obviously knew Chen's strength. He could even kill a 5th strength state cultivator, let alone a mere Saula Lee. He quickly said, don't be rash. There are rules here. If he killed a spellbreaker here, he would be in big trouble. Saula Lee, do you know where this place is? Marcus shouted in an attempt to alert the other party. I only care about killing. Saula Lee was already angry and her whip lashed out again. Chen, who was retreating, suddenly turned around and rushed in front of Saula Lee at an extremely fast speed. Saula Lee was shocked. She thought that he would not dare to resist, just like when they were outside and let her whip him. Now that Chen suddenly approached her, she was a little flustered. Chen, who was close to her, used his left hand like a knife and slashed at her wrist. Saula Lee's whip immediately fell from her hand. At the same time, Chen clenched his right hand into a fist and punched her face. Bang! Saula Lee was hit in the forehead and her body flew backwards. How dare you! The two people who came with Saula Lee saw this and their faces were filled with anger. They immediately rushed towards Chen. The two of them were also spellbreakers and did not fear the rules here. Since he had already made his move, there was no need to hold back. Chen rushed towards the two. When the two fists met, powerful energy surged and one of them slid backwards. Chen felt a sharp pain in his head. It was as if a strong force had entered his sea of consciousness, causing a sharp pain. He shook his head, and the stinging pain disappeared. At this moment, a second fist was coming. Chen caught the other with a backhand grip. Buzz! There was a flash of light on the other party's fist, and a bizarre energy entered his sea of consciousness. Chen felt another wave of pain in his head, but he didn't slow down. He landed a punch on his opponent's head and knocked him to the ground. Then, Chen kicked out. Bang! The intruder's body curled up like a shrimp and flew out. Marcus stood at the back and watched this scene in shock. At this moment, Sanglari stood up again. Her expression was almost twisted with anger. You dare to attack me? Do you want to die? A short knife appeared in her hand, and she charged towards Chen. Sanglari, you dare to use a weapon here? Marcus roared again. Have you forgotten the rules here? Sanglari had long been blinded by anger. How could she care about such things? Chen's expression was indifferent. He didn't retreat, but instead, he advanced. He wanted to teach this woman a lesson. Chen stepped forward, ready to give her another punch. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly flew out from the short knife in Sanglari's hand. This ray of light was extremely fast. Like a bolt of lightning, it landed on Zichen's body. Buzz! Zichen felt as if his head was about to explode. It was as if a sword light went straight into his brain and split his whole head into two. His vision became blurry. Almost reflexively, he moved to the side and avoided the other party's attack. Then, he punched out again. Bang! Sanglari was knocked out again. Zichen also retreated. He was in a very bad state. At this moment, he noticed that the two of them were about to get up again. Thus, he ignored the piercing pain in his head and stepped forward again. He kicked the two of them, who had just gotten up, far away. The piercing pain eased a little. Zichen charged towards Sanglari. B*TCH, I want you dead. At this moment, he was in a very bad state. His opponent's attack was very strange. He felt as if his head was about to explode. Sanglari looked at the approaching Zichen in shock. At this moment, her expression was similar to Marcus's. Bang! Zichen, who was closing in, hit Sanglari's forehead again, and the powerful force sent him flying. The short knife in Sanglari's hand flew out. Zichen stepped forward and landed a few consecutive kicks. How is this possible? Looking at Zichen, who was constantly stomping on Saul-Ali, Marcus was completely stunned. The reason why spellbreakers were noble was not only because they were natives here, but also because they had spellbreaker soul power. This kind of soul power was very strange. It could directly destroy one's soul. If the energy of spiritual spells was only physical damage, then the spellbreaker soul power was magical damage. It was even more terrifying. However, the attacks of the three of them did not seem to have much effect on Zichen. Instead, they were beaten up by Zichen. Moreover, Zichen clearly hated Sanglari. At this moment, not only was he beating her, but he was also humiliating her. His foot did not land on Sanglari's body, but on her head, and even her face. Marcus looked at this scene and curled his lips. Fortunately, Sanglari did not have a real body. Otherwise, she would have vomited blood. The other two shouted and rushed over. Zichen turned around and threw a few punches. After knocking the two of them down, he kicked their heads. Zichen's feet were shining. He kicked them hard. Finally, after more than 10 kicks, the two of them fainted. Sanglari wanted to escape, but Zichen would not give her the chance. He chased after her. Marcus, hurry up and stop him, Sanglari shouted. At this moment, she was really afraid. Zichen was like a monster. No matter how she beat him, he would not die. The commotion here was not small. Many people walked out. After seeing Zichen chasing after Sanglari, their expressions changed. They had never seen such a situation before. Marcus, hurry up and stop him, Sanglari shouted angrily. Marcus stood in the distance and did not stop her. The current Zichen was obviously in a situation where he had lost his mind. It was obvious that he could not be persuaded. However, from his previous attacks on the two of them, it proved that Zichen still had a sense of propriety. All along, spellbreakers had been suppressed by spellbreakers. Such a scene was rare. Zichen was indeed very strange. Why did he not fall even after being attacked? Finally, Zichen caught up with Sanglari. Without hesitation, he kicked her head and stepped on her face. The saying of having tender feelings for the fairer sex did not exist in Zichen's world. Sanglari screamed and resisted at the same time. Zichen's body also began to sway. The people in the distance all stared with their eyes wide open. They were shocked. Dong. In the end, Zichen won and kicked Sanglari until she fainted. After that, he staggered over and stood in front of Marcus. Let's go. At this moment, his head was in pain. It was as if there were countless forces gathering here, trying to split his head apart. He looked at Marcus. His eyes gradually became blurry. He realized that Marcus had become too. Bang! Zichen's vision turned black and he fell to the ground. Marcus's expression changed. He quickly went forward to check on Zichen's situation. His body did not disappear. He is still alive. Chapter 50-54. Marcus felt helpless. His original intention was to bring Zichen here to help him. It would be best if he could stay here. However, He did not expect to meet Saula Li. What was even more unexpected to him was that Zi Chen had actually won against 3 people at the same cultivation level as him. Looking at the unconscious Zi Chen, he felt like he was looking at a monster. Being able to ignore killing intent and being immune to the power of spellbreakers, Marcus really wanted to break open Zi Chen's body to find out what was going on. He carried Zi Chen on his back and walked outside. As for Saula Li and the other 2, there would naturally be other people to take care of them. Speaking of which, for so many years, it had always been spirit casters who were bullied. The scene of spellbreakers being knocked unconscious was really rare. Marcus did not dare to stay here any longer. After returning, he called Yunai and the others and walked outside. When they arrived outside Pofa City, they did not go to the mine with killing crystals. Instead, they went to the outer area and settled Zi Chen here. Master said that Zi Chen would be in charge of this place from now on. Therefore, when Zi Chen woke up, there would be a transfer of power. Zi Chen fell into a deep sleep. His thoughts came to a strange space, where a pitch-black object was floating. He walked forward and came to the front of the black object. Suddenly, streams of black air dispersed, and the object within appeared. It was a black skull, and it looked exceptionally terrifying. Zi Chen was shocked and sat up abruptly. This was an unfamiliar place, but it was very spacious. His breathing became faster. Where am I? In his subconscious, he was still fighting with Saula Li. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and Marcus walked in. Seeing Zi Chen sitting there, he was slightly shocked. You woke up so quickly. Where is this? Zi Chen asked. Outside Pofa City. I brought you back yesterday. Marcus said, I noticed that your breathing was unstable, so I thought that you would need at least 3 to 5 days to wake up. How do you feel now? Where do you feel uncomfortable? Zi Chen sensed his own body and found that there were no unexpected circumstances. His mental state was also surprisingly good, so he shook his head. He got out of bed and walked out of the room. He was surprised to find that this used to be Gavin's residence. After what happened, it's impossible for you to enter the city for the time being. You should just focus on managing this place from now on. Marcus walked to Zi Chen's side and said, Don't go to that mine anymore. I received news that not long after we left, a 6 Forces State cultivator appeared. 6 Forces State. Zi Chen's expression changed. It was obvious that they were from the rebel army. He hadn't expected them to arrive so quickly. Where are they? He left after hearing that you were going to shatter Fa City. Marcus said in a deep voice, I reckon that he thinks that you won't come out after going in. If he finds out that you didn't stay in there, he will definitely come back. Zi Chen frowned. Right now, he could only deal with a 5-force realm cultivator. It was unrealistic for him to fight against a 6-force realm cultivator. If the other party came back, it would obviously be a huge problem. So, this is for you. Once you feel that something is wrong, run into the city. Marcus took out a token and said, Of course, it's not absolute. Maybe that person won't come back. Zi Chen sighed. There were troubles everywhere. Now that he couldn't mine killing crystals, he didn't have much left. He couldn't fight against a 6-force realm cultivator. Back then, Hu Zheng was a spy in the rebel army in the place controlled by the shamans. At the moment, Zi Chen couldn't be sure if there were any rebel army in that place. If there were any rebel army, they would definitely send news about him back. It seems that I can only work hard to break through. Zi Chen sighed. However, it was obvious that this hope was very slim. He relied on martial crystals to break through to the 4 Forces State. How could it be easy to advance further? Moreover, his improvement was already very fast. I'll go back and discuss with Sir to see if it's possible to get you a martial crystal source. Yes, Marcus said. What's a martial crystal source? Zi Chen asked curiously. It's something condensed from martial crystals. Sometimes, there will be such things in martial crystal or veins. Each small portion is extremely valuable. Marcus thought for a moment and said, the lowest grade is about 10 pieces of martial crystal or Zi Chen was speechless. A piece of martial crystal ore was already extremely valuable. A martial crystal source was even more so, equivalent to 10 pieces of martial crystal ore. How could he possibly get his hands on it? Did you use this to break through to the next level? Zichen asked. Marcus nodded. I used the one with the lowest grade and some luck to break through the realm. Zichen obviously didn't have any extravagant hopes. For now, it was better to take one step at a time. Putting aside the threat of the Six Forces state, Zichen really did have some things to do. For example, he wanted to make this place more orderly and prevent the situation of embezzlement so that more people could survive. By the way, how did you resist the soul attacks of those spellbreakers? Marcus thought of a question and asked curiously. The reason why spellbreakers are superior to others is also related to their unique attacks. Zichen shook his head. I'm not sure. I just feel a headache, but it's not life-threatening. You won even though it was 1 against 3. You're really amazing, Marcus said. However, you have to be on your guard from now on. She might come back again. A murderous intent flashed in Zichen's eyes. If she comes out, does that mean I can kill her at will? Logically speaking, that's the case. However, you have to be careful. After all, she's a spellbreaker. It'll be troublesome if she dies. Zichen asked again, then will she find a cultivator of the Six Powers realm? Zichen really had no way to deal with a Six Forces state cultivator. She won't. You don't have to worry about that. Marcus smiled. A Six Forces state cultivator isn't that bored. They won't come out just for this kind of thing. Zichen nodded. This made him feel more at ease. If Sanglari came out to cause trouble, he wouldn't mind killing him. Marcus went back. Since the ore vein couldn't be mined, there was no need for him to stay outside. Zichen successfully took over the place. The original people didn't change, but Zichen gathered them together and sternly warned them not to embezzle the energy of their subordinates. Everyone responded. They didn't dare to disobey the words of a Four Forces state cultivator. However, it wasn't certain if they would do as they were told. Zichen took in everyone's expressions and said, inform everyone that they can report each other. Once the facts are verified, they can replace them. The expressions of these people suddenly changed. It was obvious that this Four Forces state leader was serious this time. This made their expressions extremely ugly. If they couldn't embezzle the energy, it would be a huge loss for them. For a moment, everyone had some complaints. Zichen looked at the people leaving. He wasn't familiar with these people, so it was naturally not easy to control them. He decided to make a trip to the shaman's place and find some acquaintances. Chapter 50-55. Along the way, there were no threats that could affect Zichen. In this place, he was already unimpeded. When he arrived at the shaman's place, Zichen did not look for Miao Pengfei. Instead, he went straight to the shaman leader. Shaman. Zichen called out when he arrived outside the house. The shaman walked out of the room in confusion. There were not many people who dared to call him by his name. When he opened the door and saw Zichen in the dark, he was immediately shocked. Zichen. When Zichen left, he was only in the second strength realm. Even when they went out to look for him, he was only in the third strength realm. When they met again, he had already advanced to the fourth strength realm. The shaman immediately invited Zichen into the room. The shaman was a little nervous about his arrival. Is it because of the search for Zichen last time? Is he here to settle the score? I want to take one person away from you. Of course, it could be two. Seeing the shaman's uneasiness, Zichen directly stated his intention. The shaman was relieved. Naturally, he would not refuse and asked for the reason. After learning that Zichen replaced Gavin and became the leader of another area, the shaman was so shocked that his eyes almost popped out. A fourth strength realm cultivator actually became a leader outside instead of enjoying his life in Dharma Break City. This was too strange. Zichen did not explain much. He only told the shaman that he could look for him if he found a martial crystal mine. He was willing to take a look inside. The source of martial crystals was obviously difficult to obtain. Zichen could only pin his hopes on martial crystals. If there was a way to get more martial crystals, he might be able to take another step forward. The shaman personally went to look for Miao Pengfei. At first, Miao Pengfei was a little nervous. He did not know why the master was looking for him at this time. However, after seeing Chen, his worries disappeared and he was pleasantly surprised. When he saw the fourth strength around Chen, he was even more shocked. "I'm here to take you back." "Where's Hu Zheng? Is he still in your team?" Chen asked. "Yes, he's the leader now." Miao Pengfei nodded. "When did you break through?" "We'll talk about this when we get back." Chen looked at the shaman. "I'll have to trouble you to call Hu Zheng over. I have something to say to him." "It's nothing." Not long after, Hu Zheng also came. He was naturally very nervous. He was surprised to see Chen. "I'm here to bring Miao Pengfei back. When I learned that you're here, I wanted to ask you if you want to come with me." Chen smiled and said, "Right now, I really need some trustworthy people." "Where to?" Hu Zheng asked. "I've taken over the place that was originally under Gavin's control. I plan to reorganize it, but there's no one I can trust." Chen said, "I hope to make it a place where there is no oppression or embezzlement. Someone needs to be in charge of supervision." When Hu Zheng heard this, he looked at Chen with a complicated expression. Last time, before she could finish, Chen interrupted her. "I've already said that I appreciate your kindness. So, this time, the opportunity has come. Are you willing to go to my place for the pursuit in your heart?" "Of course I'm willing, but," Hu Zheng hesitated. "But last time, I brought some people. They're in the same situation as me. They're disappointed in Jutian City and have nowhere to go." Chen asked, "Are you trustworthy?" Hu Zheng nodded. "Absolutely." Chen said, "Then take them together. I'll talk to the shaman about this later." This was not a big problem. The shaman did not hesitate and readily agreed. Of course, this was also because of Chen's realm. The shaman was not willing to have an unpleasant relationship with a fourth strength state cultivator. He just came to ask for a few people. Even if he wanted his position, he had to give it to him. Chen went back first. Miao Pengfei and Hu Zheng brought people over later. They were naturally not as fast as Chen. After returning, Chen took out his energy and began to cultivate, even though the hope of breaking through was slim. On the third day, Miao Pengfei brought people over. Chen directly gave them the authority to supervise. In Chen's room, a person called Neil was telling Chen about the situation here, the distribution of the various teams, and the distribution of the mineral veins. "Sir, we control 15 mineral veins, big and small. The current count is 13,000 people. This is only an estimate, not an absolute number," Neil said. Neil said, "Because there are people dying every day, and there are people joining in every day. The number of people counted each time is only a rough estimate." Chen said, "Just follow the original plan and pass down the order." Neil nodded, but there was hesitation on his face. He wanted to say something but stopped. "If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to be restrained here," Chen said. "If everything goes well, we'll be cooperating for a long time in the future. Sir, this is a good move for many people." "I naturally agree. But this way, the benefits of the leaders will be lost. Isn't this inappropriate?" As Neil spoke, he carefully looked at Chen, as if he wanted to see some changes in his expression. Chen's expression was very calm. "This is not their benefit in the first place. It's what they deserve. It's just that after a long time, they think it's all theirs. This time, I'm just returning the benefits that should be given to everyone." Neil hurriedly nodded. He naturally understood this. Chen continued, "However, they won't think the same way, and they are naturally unwilling to accept it. How about this? Their original remuneration will be increased by 10% as compensation. But, just deduct it from my remuneration." Neil's expression changed. "Sir, this," Chen waved his hand. "That's all for now. We'll talk about it later." Neil went out to carry out the order, which naturally attracted a lot of criticism. But for the ordinary people, this was great news. Then, Miao Pengfei and the others, in pairs, patrolled the various teams to see if anyone was not following the rules. Once the rules were broken, the informant could replace them. The people that Hu Zheng brought were all very excited. After a period of observation, they found that Zi Chen was really fair and just. Such a place was what they had always yearned for. Many people wanted to go back and call their friends from Gathering Sky City, but they were stopped by Hu Zheng. Because he accidentally found out that a 6th strength state master went to the mine to find Zi Chen. He guessed the reason and told everyone not to be impulsive. After all, these people were trustworthy, but the people from Gathering Sky City might not be. The 6th strength state master did not come, but the people from Breaking Law City came first. Sang Larry. She once again brought people to find trouble with Zi Chen. Zi Chen, today is the day you die. She brought 5 people this time, all of them were lawbreakers. One of them held 2 heavy hammers and suddenly used gouge. Boom. A bolt of lightning shot out from within, heading straight for Zi Chen. Chapter 50-56. Can't even withstand a single blow. Seeing Zi Chen fall to the ground, the man with the heavy hammer said with disdain, "Sanglari, this is the guy you were talking about. He doesn't look like much." Sanglari said, "He has resistance to ordinary soul power attacks, but he naturally has no resistance to your twin soul hammers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked you to come. If I had known that he would be so weak, I would have made my move later." As they spoke, they walked forward. "Before beating him to death, we should torture him first." The others nodded and looked at Zi Chen, who was lying motionless on the ground, looking very regretful. After all, it was this guy who made them, the Spellbreakers, a laughingstock last time. It had always been the Spellbreakers suppressing the Spellbreakers. When did it reverse? He had to get back at them no matter what. But they didn't expect that Phoebe would directly kill him the moment he arrived. There were many people in the distance. When they saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with fear as they retreated. A master of the 4th realm of strength was killed in an instant. This person was too terrifying. There were also some people who sneered secretly. They were all small leaders. Now that Zi Chen was dead, their good days were coming. After all, Zi Chen had cut off their source of income. Looking at Zi Chen, who was lying there motionless, Phoebe, who walked closer, suddenly exclaimed, "Why didn't he disappear?" Only then did everyone realize that Zi Chen, who was supposed to be dead, was still lying there. His body didn't disappear, which meant that he wasn't dead. Sanglari's expression suddenly changed and she said, "Be careful." Her reaction was very fast, but her warning was still too late. Zi Chen, who was lying on the ground, jumped like a rabbit kicking an eagle. The 2 sledgehammers in Phoebe's hands immediately flew out. Zi Chen flipped over and got up. The bone rod appeared in his hand and he smashed it forward. Bang! He wasn't smashing a person, but a hammer. With a flash of light, the 2 sledgehammers turned into light and disappeared from sight. "You're courting death," Phoebe bellowed, instantly enraged. What awaited Phoebe was a huge fist that landed directly on his forehead, causing him to roll on the ground. Zi Chen had seen them swaggering over. Among them, the sledgehammer in Phoebe's hand was very eye-catching. Having already suffered a loss once, Saula Li was certainly not stupid. When he came again, he would definitely be fully prepared. Therefore, Zi Chen had taken advantage of the opportunity to feign death and launch a sneak attack. Of course, this was also because he had withstood the attack. If he had not withstood it, he would have really died. After sending Phoebe flying with a punch, Zi Chen quickly approached Sanlali and smashed the bone club in his hand. He had a sense of propriety and did not aim for the head. Because once the attack landed, the opponent would die without a doubt. He landed on one side of the man's body. Buzz! Wherever the bone staff passed, a large amount of light would scatter, and half of Saulali's body would disappear. This caused her to scream in horror. Her voice was incomparably mournful. She could no longer care about anything else and rolled away on the spot. She took out her energy and began to refine it. Zi Chen tapped his foot and rushed toward Phoebe again. He noticed that Phoebe was running away, obviously to pick up the sledgehammers. Zi Chen quickly caught up and swung the bone club at his head. The sledgehammers were obviously a threat to him. Back then, he could fight 3 people alone with his bare hands. Today, he took out the bone club. It would be merciful if he did not kill anyone. He caught up with Phoebe and knocked him down with one blow. Phoebe fell to the ground. Half of his body was gone, and he screamed in fear. Chen flashed and went to the next person. Then, under everyone's gaze, Chen, who was also in the four forces state, completely destroyed the remaining four people. Their attacks fell on Chen, but they could not hurt Chen at all. On the other hand, Chen's bone club fell and hit them until they either lost a body or an arm. Chen's control of strength was very precise and accurate. Everyone looked miserable, but they did not die. Chen held the bone club in his hand and walked to Saula Lee. In front of everyone, he grabbed her hair and threw her aside, ignoring her screams of horror. Saula Lee fell to the ground but did not dare to say anything. She could only continue to refine energy and repair her lost body. Chen threw the other 5 people over one by one. "What are you doing?" A slightly fat lawbreaker looked at Chen in horror. Chen turned around and shouted, "Someone, help me pick up the hammer." Immediately, someone trotted over. "Want to live?" Chen sat on a rock and looked down at the 6 people. Yes, the slightly fat lawbreaker nodded. His injuries were recovering faster. Chen held the bone club in his hand and struck again. Butterball screamed as one of his arms and shoulder was gone. Butterball's body trembled. He hurriedly took out energy and continued to refine. Chen just stood there and looked at those who were about to recover. He would strike them, ensuring that they would not die, but they would not recover either. More and more people gathered in the distance. Everyone looked at Chen with eyes full of admiration. Chen was the first person who dared to treat the people of Pofa City like this. "Big brother, please spare us. Spare us." Amidst the screams, the bone club fell again. Chen didn't say anything during this period. He just continued to torture them like this for 4 hours. The 6 of them were on the verge of collapse. He said all sorts of things to beg for mercy, but it was useless. The other party refused to budge at all. At this time, Chen said again, "Do you want to live?" The 6 of them hurriedly nodded. "No one wanted to die here. Use the martial crystal to exchange for your lives," Chen said directly. That was the reason why he did not kill them. Ah! They were stunned when they heard that. Buzz! The bone club fell again and half of a person's body was destroyed. The person screamed, "I'll give it, I'll give it." Chen raised the bone club again. "I'll give it too." At this time, Phoebe also spoke. Chen was stunned. A strange light flashed in his eyes. Initially, he only wanted them to work together. He did not expect them to be so powerful that they could get a piece each. Then, Chen felt relieved. Saula Lee did not even take Marcus seriously. He must have some tricks up his sleeve. If even Marcus could get a piece of martial crystal, it was not surprising that they had the ability to do so as well. Therefore, Chen held the bone club in his hand and looked at the others. His eyes were cold and full of threat. "I'll give it too. Me too." In order to survive, the others expressed their opinions one after another. Chen was very satisfied with everyone's performance. He looked at Phoebe and said, "Go back now and redeem their lives with 6 pieces of martial crystal." Ah! Phoebe was stunned when he heard that. "Why don't I let them go? You stay here." Chen raised his eyebrows. I'll go," Phoebe quickly nodded. As long as he could go back, everything was negotiable. The others' eyes flashed. Obviously, they all wanted to go back. That was because it was too dangerous to stay here. "I'll keep the weapon first. I'll return it to you when you come out with the martial crystal." Chapter 50-57. The smile on Phoebe's face froze, and his expression turned bitter. He thought he could go back like this, but he never thought he would have to leave the twin hammers behind. Those were his treasures, how could he leave them here? The others came to their senses and realized how cunning Chen was. Letting Phoebe leave his weapons behind was equivalent to leaving half of his life here. He would not dare to not come back. "Why, you don't want to? Then I'll let the others go, and you can continue to stay here." Chen raised his eyebrows. Phoebe obviously did not believe Chen's words. Among the few of them, he was the most qualified. Even if Chen were to choose again, the one who could go back would still be him. This sentence was obviously just to scare him. However, in the current situation, going back was indeed a good choice, even if he had to leave the heavy hammers behind. Because if he stayed here, he might die. Just you wait, I'll take out the martial crystal. Phoebe looked at the few of them, but we have to say this in advance, everyone will get one. Then, everyone will have a share. With that, Phoebe left. Chen looked at the few of them who had recovered. Guys, I only want the martial crystal. If you guys are honest, I won't make things difficult for you. Otherwise, you'll be missing an arm or a leg until that guy comes back. Honest, we'll definitely be honest. Butterball said hurriedly. Obviously, he was really scared by Chen. The others looked at the fatty with disdain. At the very least, he should have some modesty, right? They just nodded. Thus, the two sides happily came to a decision. Phoebe returned to Dharma-shattering city, but he did not look for the martial crystal immediately. 6 people, 6 pieces of martial crystal. With his ability, it would be difficult to get it. He went to find a 5-strength realm. A 5-strength realm spellbreaker could crush a spiritual caster of the same realm. He told him the truth. What? When the 5-strength realm spellbreaker heard this, his face immediately turned ugly. The 6 of you are actually unable to defeat a spirit caster of the same realm? Phoebe immediately explained, it's not like that. That guy pretended to be dead and ambushed me. I lost my weapon and was careless. 5 Forces State suddenly thought of something. Could it be that guy from last time? Last time, Chen fought against 3 spellbreakers at the same time and knocked them out. The news about this had already spread out and he had almost become the laughingstock of the entire spell-breaking city. That's him. That despicable bastard. Phoebe gritted his teeth. Where did that guy come from? The 5 Forces State cultivator frowned. Something that could make a law-breaker suffer had not happened for many years. Let's go and take a look at Ape's place. The 5 Forces realm walked forward. No, he still wants me to take the Wu Jingsha back. Phoebe immediately said, if I don't take the Wu Jingsha, Sanglali and the others will die. Your brain. Kino turned around and glared at Phoebe. He said angrily, how can a lawbreaker be threatened by a mere spirit mage? Follow me. Phoebe had no choice but to follow Kino. They arrived at 6 Forces State Apebert's residence. At that moment, Apebert was talking to Marcus. Kino went straight to the point and asked, what's going on with that little guy called Chen? Apebert asked in surprise, what happened? Before Phoebe could speak, Kino interrupted, it's nothing. Just tell me, what's going on with that little guy? Ape shook his head, I don't know. He's just a subordinate of mine. He's usually very inconspicuous. Did he make things difficult for lawbreakers again? Why don't I get someone to call that subordinate over and ask him? Phoebe still wanted to say something, but after a glance from Kino, he stopped talking. You're saying that he's just a very inconspicuous guy? Kino looked at Ape. Ape nodded, of course. He's so inconspicuous that I don't even know that there's such a person. Marcus, do you know? Marcus said, I've heard that he's already in 4 Forces State. It's said that he's always wanted to enter Dharma Breaker City, but he's not qualified. Sir, don't you remember? The last time he came here, he wanted to get the qualification to enter the city, but he was rejected by Sir. Then, he was knocked out when he went out. I was the one who threw him out. Oh, Ape said in realization, so it's that useless guy. Someone like him wants to enter Dharma Breaker City? Wait a few more years. Hearing the two echoing each other, Kino's expression was extremely ugly. It was obvious that they weren't insulting that guy, but deliberately slapping the face of lawbreakers. If that guy was inconspicuous and didn't have the qualification to enter Dharma Breaker City, then wouldn't they, who were beaten up, be even less qualified? Kino, why are you looking for me this time? Ape said, if that guy did something wrong, I can order my subordinates to capture him and apologize to you in person. Whether it's his fault or not, he must apologize. He's just an outer city steward. His power is so small, yet he dares to rebel. Humph. Kino snorted, since he's just an insignificant outer city steward, then there's nothing to be concerned about. My purpose is simple. I just want to remind you to hurry up and collect that guy's body. If you're late, his body will be gone. Let's go." With that, Piper turned around and left. After the two of them left, Paubert and Marcos burst out laughing. For so many years, the lawbreakers were arrogant and looked down on others. There weren't many times that they could be embarrassed. After laughing, Marcus said worriedly, "Sir, how should we deal with him this time?" "You mean Kino? He's indeed troublesome as a 5-strength realm cultivator." Ape frowned slightly. Marcus shook his head and said, "I didn't mean that. Kino is just asking for trouble if he goes to Chen. What I mean is that Chen can only defeat Kino. If another 6-strength realm lawbreaker comes, he won't be able to resist." Marcus's appearance here was naturally not a coincidence. He had received news from outside the city and immediately came to discuss it with the Lord. Sometimes, those spellbreakers valued their reputation more than their lives. It was almost impossible for them to take out 6 pieces of martial crystals. He didn't expect Kino to come so soon after he arrived. It was obvious that he would be the one to go out of the city to deal with Chen. "What did you say?" Ape was shocked. "You said Chen can deal with Kino?" Marcus nodded and said, "I can't guarantee anything else, but Kino is indeed not a problem." Back then, he had seen Chen kill 2 5-strength realm lawbreakers with his own eyes. Coupled with his resistance against lawbreakers, it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with Kino alone. Moreover, he believed that Chen had already guessed that things wouldn't go so smoothly and was already prepared for another battle. If that's the case, then this kid is a treasure. No matter what, we have to protect him. Ape said, "How about this, you go outside and see the situation first. I'll go up and look. No matter what, we can't let this kid be bullied to death. A guy who can continuously humiliate lawbreakers, I believe that many people should be willing to protect him." Ape left the mansion. Marcus walked out of the city. Kino took Phoebe out of the city in advance. "We didn't take the martial crystals. That kid will kill them." Phoebe was still insisting on this matter. "Shut up. If you say such discouraging words again, I'll tear your mouth apart." Kino was so angry that he wanted to hit someone. Chapter 50-58. Kino, who was in the 5-strength state, brought Phoebe out of Pofa City to look for trouble with Chen. Phoebe said worriedly, "This won't do. That Chen will kill us. We have to bring Wu Jingsha out." "Shut up." Kino turned around and scolded, "If you keep talking nonsense, I'll kill you first." Phoebe said again, "Then do you have Wu Jingsha? No matter what, we have to save her first, right?" "Shut up." Kino kicked Phoebe and sent him flying. "If you keep talking nonsense, I'll kill you first." Phoebe stood up with his hands on his stomach. He was very unwilling, but he could only remain silent. The two of them arrived at the outskirts of Pofa City and walked towards Chen's camp. The two sides met. Saula Lee and the others seemed to have seen hope. Their eyes were filled with fervent light. Chen's lips curled into a smile as he placed the blade in his hand on one of the people's necks. Coincidentally, it was Butterball. Butterball's body was trembling. He immediately shouted, "Phoebe, where's Wu Jingsha? Take it out." Phoebe's face was bitter, but he did not say anything. "Shut up." Kino shouted, "You've disgraced the Pofa City." Looking at Kino, Chen's blade trembled. He moved closer to Butterball's neck and said indifferently, "If you come any closer, his head will be separated from his body." "How dare you?" Kino's eyes were filled with coldness. He did not stop. Chen smiled coldly and suddenly exerted force on the blade in his hand. "No. Stop. Stop." Butterball shouted in fear. But Kino did not stop. Butterball shouted, "Phoebe, UF** King set us up." Saula Lee and the others were also filled with fear and anger. When Butterball's head was separated from his body, it would be their turn. "Stop. Are you crazy?" Phoebe hurried forward and stopped Kino. "Do you want to kill everyone?" Kino kicked Phoebe away but did not continue to move forward. He looked at Chen and said coldly, "Let him go if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, you know the consequences." "Are you threatening me?" Chen sneered. "Where's Wu Jingsha? Did you bring it? Do you think I will give you martial crystal stones? Kino laughed mockingly. If you don't release them today, it will be the day of your death. So you didn't take it? Murderous intent flashed in Zichen's eyes as the blade in his hand slashed down. My lord, wait. I have martial crystal stones, I have them. Butterball shouted again. He was so scared that his body trembled violently. Saul and the others were not much better off. The blade was once again hovering over his neck. Fortunately, it had stopped. Phoebe, where's Wu Jingsha? Butterball said angrily. Didn't I ask you to go back and get the martial crystal stones? Where's the stuff? Phoebe said helplessly. He didn't let me take it. F***K, you. Butterball was angry and shouted hysterically. I asked you to take the martial crystal stones to save people. You're F***King harming people. Why are you looking for this idiot? F***K, he doesn't care about our lives at all. Kino's face was gloomy. Can't, pay attention to your status. As a spellbreaker. Butterball roared, pay attention to your mother. Where's Wu Jingsha? Take the martial crystal stones out. Kino said coldly, of course not. I'm here to save you. After I kill him, you'll be free. Free your ass. I'll F***K, you. You're F***King a pig teammate. Normally, Butterball and Kant would not dare to talk to a 5 strength state with such an attitude. But now that it was a matter of life and death, they could not care less. Get lost quickly. Pig teammate. Get lost, pig teammate. We don't need you to care about us. Sanlali and the others also cursed. Phoebe could have found anyone, but he had to find this conceited idiot. Even if you want to kill people, you should first take the martial crystal stones and save us, right? Pay attention to your status. Even without the martial crystal stones, I can still save you. Kino's face was dark. These people obviously had no bottom line as a spellbreaker. F***K off. Kant was about to cry. It was unknown whether it was from anger or fear. We don't need you to care about us. Get lost quickly. After that, Kant tilted his head and looked at Zichen. Sir, trust me this time. I'll go back and get the martial crystal stones for you. I promise, a total of 6 stones, not one less. Next to Butterball, a young man also said, I can get it too. Sanlali also said, me too. There was no other way. Phoebe had found a pig teammate. Their lives were in danger at any time. Naturally, whoever could leave would survive. Zichen said, guys, I believe in your abilities, but now, I'm really sorry. No, sir, trust me this time, just this time. I'm definitely honest. I'll never be like these 2 idiots. Kant screamed, sir, trust me this time. Seeing this, Phoebe was also very regretful. If these people died because of him, he would definitely feel extremely guilty. Wait for me, I'll go back and get the martial crystal stones. Phoebe said, this time, I'll definitely get it. Zichen said, this time, I trust you, but 6 martial crystal stones are no longer enough. Buzz. As soon as his voice fell, cold light shot out in all directions. The 5 people on the ground instantly lost 4 of their limbs. Like human sticks, they fell down. The 5 of them only realized it later and screamed in pain. You're courting death. Kino was furious. This time, his expression really changed. He finally realized the seriousness of the matter. If these knives had been on their necks, then they would have been done for. Phoebe's body also trembled. At this moment, he wanted to kill Kino. I'm sorry, guys. Since the enemy is here, I naturally have to deal with him first. After saying that, Zichen strode forward, abandoning the 5 of them. This was also to prevent the 5 of them from escaping. Today, I'll definitely kill you. Kino rushed forward, holding a long saber in his hand. The blade flickered with cold light. Go to hell. When he was a few feet away from Zichen, he slashed down with his saber. Immediately, a light of energy flew towards Zichen. Zichen smiled coldly and blocked with his long saber. Buzz. The attack fell into the long saber and went straight to his brain. Seeing that Zichen was hit, Kino said indifferently, you want to, poof. Before he finished speaking, a light pierced through his brain. He let out a scream. Die. At this moment, Zi Chen accelerated towards the other party. He jumped high and slashed in the air. Kino, who was screaming in fear, quickly dodged the blade. Poof! The slaughter spirit's second attack came and went into his brain. Kino screamed. Zi Chen's figure descended, and another saber slashed out. The slaughtering spirit turned back halfway. The 5 people in the distance no longer screamed. Because their limbs were broken, they would not die immediately. At this moment, they were all shocked by this battle. Phoebe's eyes widened in shock. Poof! Zi Chen's fourth slash fell. Kino's arms were gone, and the weapon in his hand fell to the ground. Poof! His legs were gone too. Zi Chen withdrew his saber and stood there, no longer attacking. Kino fell to the ground and screamed in horror. At this moment, he no longer had the arrogance from before. The dignity of a spellbreaker was nowhere to be found. Chapter 50-59. The two sides met, and the outcome was decided in a few moves. Kino fell to the ground like a stick, his eyes full of horror. His dignity as a spellbreaker had long been gone. Kant and the others were stunned. They obviously did not expect such an outcome. Phoebe stood in the distance, completely dumbfounded. At this moment, he really believed Kant's words. Useless teammate. This time, Zi Chen's winning magic weapon was a spirit light weapon. He had not used it before, and this time, it was a surprise victory. Under such a weapon, Kino could not even walk back and forth 2 times. Everyone reacted. Zi Chen asked Phoebe to go back because he had already expected such a situation. I say, what are you still standing there for? Zi Chen looked at Phoebe, who was standing there in a daze. Hurry up and get the Wu Jingsha. As for this guy, if you see how many pieces he's worth, bring a few more. Phoebe looked at Kino. Kino said angrily, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and get it. Approaching death, he chose to give up his dignity. Kant and the others looked at him with contempt. Phoebe immediately turned back, the shock in his heart lingering for a long time. Marcus walked out from the shadows. Although he had already guessed this outcome, he was still shocked to see it with his own eyes. Against Zi Chen, these spellbreakers had met their nemesis. Zi Chen went forward, grabbed Kino, and threw him in front of them. It was easier to manage this way. Kant and the others glared at Kino. This guy had almost killed them earlier. Kino fell to the ground and slowly recovered, silent. Phoebe learned to be smart this time. After returning, he did not look for anyone but first went to look for Wu Jingsha. There were 6 of them, 1 piece each, a total of 6 pieces. When they left, Zi Chen said that 6 pieces were not enough this time. Phoebe naturally knew what he meant. And that idiot Kino, as a 5 strength state, was obviously not only worth 1 piece of Wu Jingsha. Therefore, he prepared a total of 8 pieces. 8 pieces of martial crystals. Even Ji Nuo, a 5th strength stage cultivator, might not be able to obtain them, not to mention Phoebe, a mere 4th strength stage cultivator. Therefore, it shocked many people. Phoebe told him the truth. He didn't hide anything, nor did he dare to hide anything. He had never thought of letting Zi Chen go, but he also did not want his friends to be killed. Kino was still an idiot. The spellbreakers were enraged. This was the first time in history that they were threatened by spells. Everyone was filled with righteous indignation. Soon, the spiritual spellcasters also knew about it. Each and every one of them mocked him endlessly, feeling extremely delighted. Just as the spirit casters were enraged and clamoring to find trouble with Zi Chen outside, a voice came from above. At this point, all the spellbreakers quieted down. Mike, who was at the 6 forces state, found Phoebe, and the 2 of them walked out of the city. Along the way, the 2 of them met spiritual spell ape Bert, who was also at the 6 powers realm. The 3 of them walked together. Outside the city, when Marcus saw the 3 of them, his expression changed slightly, and he immediately came forward. Nothing happened, right? Ape Bert asked. Marcus shook his head and said, no, Zi Chen has a sense of propriety. From the looks of it, he only wants to give these people some punishment. Mike snorted coldly but did not say anything. No matter what, Spellbreaker City was also a place where reason could be found. In this matter, the spellbreakers were in the wrong first. A group of people went outside to find trouble with one person, and they hadn't even fought. How could they reason? A group of 4 people walked towards Zichen. At this moment, there were already many people surrounding them. They were all watching curiously. Zichen stood behind them with a long blade in his hand. They did not dare to move recklessly. "I'm here. Let them go." Phoebe's voice came from afar. Saulali and the rest quickly raised their heads. After seeing the group of 4 people, they were so touched that they were about to cry. It was obvious that there were more people who came this time. Their status were higher. Moreover, there were also high-level spiritual spellcasters. They were obviously here to settle this matter. Zichen was also a little surprised. He did not expect a 6 forces state lord to come. Both parties walked closer. Zichen did not threaten them to not come near. Mike looked at them and his face turned cold. "It's fine if you all are mischievous. But how can you be so impolite?" Faced with a reprimand, they did not dare to say anything. This time, it was indeed dangerous. If not for Zichen's scheme, they might have died long ago. Hence, even though they were unwilling to take out the martial crystal, they knew that it was used to buy their lives. Hence, they were not polite to Kino earlier. Because he was here to harm them. Kino was indeed an idiot. Mike first taught the 5 of them a lesson. Then, he looked at Zichen and said, "You're not bad." Zichen nodded and smiled. "Thank you for the compliment. I was just sitting at home when trouble came from the sky. I had no choice. It's a good thing to be confident. But sometimes, it's hard to distinguish between arrogance and confidence. Confidence is a good thing. Arrogance will lead to death. And it will lead to a terrible death." Mike's voice was cold. The smile on Zichen's face did not diminish. "You all remember that, right? Arrogance will lead to death. This time, you all met a good person like me. That's why I saved your lives." Saulali and the others did not dare to respond. A cold light flashed in Mike's eyes. Zichen looked at Phoebe and said with a displeased face, "I say, did you bring the martial crystal? You can't keep wasting my kindness over and over again, right? If my kindness is gone, it's a very dangerous thing for some arrogant people." Faced with such a straightforward threat, Phoebe quickly looked at Mike. Obviously, this kind of thing could not go wrong again. "This is for you." A light appeared in Mike's hand. The light was very bright and seemed to contain the fluctuations of life. When Zichen saw the light clearly, his expression immediately changed, and a hint of shock appeared in his eyes. Martial crystal source. Even though he had never seen it before, he recognized it at a glance. It was too extraordinary. It was impossible to ignore. Marcus's eyes also flashed. He did not expect the lawbreakers to be so generous this time. He directly took out a portion of martial crystal source. Even if it was the lowest grade, it was still incomparably precious. Ape Bert smiled indifferently, as if he was not surprised. Seeing the surprise in Zichen's eyes, Mike's expression eased slightly. "We lawbreakers never take advantage of others. This portion of martial crystal source is used in exchange for their freedom. From now on, you no longer have anything to do with us lawbreakers." Zichen nodded repeatedly. This was something he was looking forward to. Mike casually waved, and the martial crystal source flew out. Seeing this, Zichen hurriedly caught it, appearing very careful. "You really haven't seen the world." Mike finally seized the opportunity and mocked, "But it's also true. Who asked you to be lawbreakers? It's all the same." With the martial crystal source in hand, Zichen did not care about this little bit of mockery. Dignity was naturally important, but in this place, life was even more precious. Mike snorted coldly, then looked at them. "Let's go." Zichen also took out Phoebe's weapon and threw it to him. "It's a small world." Phoebe took the weapon and left these words with an indifferent expression. The two sides no longer had anything to do with each other, so they were naturally still enemies. "Anytime." Zichen smiled faintly and said, "I'm also looking forward to the next time we meet, because I believe in your integrity." When these words came out, Phoebe wanted to vomit blood. Chapter 50-60. Zi Chen's meaning was clear. The next time he came, the same thing would happen again. This time, each of them had lost a piece of martial crystal. When they returned, they would have to give them enough resources as compensation. No one would bear this responsibility for them. Since their lives were no longer in danger, they began to think about their dignity. This incident was so big that it would naturally attract attention. Sang Larry recalled the impact of the previous incident. This time, it was much more serious than the previous incident. They had lost even more face. When they returned, they would definitely become a laughingstock again. For a moment, they were very angry but also helpless. After all, it was an indisputable fact that they could not defeat the other party. As for Zi Chen, they could only say that he was uncanny. Now that the matter was settled, Mike and the others left. Piper and Marcos stayed behind. Then, Piper said some words of encouragement, and Marcos gave him a thumbs up. Break through first. When you reach the 5th strength state, it will be easy to go to Shatter Fa City. Actually, for ordinary people, reaching the 3rd strength state was enough to enter Shatter Fa City. However, Zi Chen was not an ordinary person. When he reached the 5th strength state, it should not be a problem. We'll leave first. We'll wait for your good news. After bidding farewell to Zi Chen, Marcus walked toward Shatter Fa City. When Zi Chen returned, his subordinates looked at him with eyes full of admiration and reverence. Amazing. Miao Pengfei was very excited. Hu Zheng and the others were also very impressed. With such a great person overseeing this place, they were naturally not afraid. Moreover, with Zi Chen's orders, the lives of the people here were undoubtedly better. Zi Chen returned to his room and took out the martial crystal source. The surging energy contained in it was completely beyond imagination. Then, Zi Chen stayed in his room and began to cultivate at full speed. His orders were carried out very well. Especially after this battle, no one dared to do anything else. Everyone obeyed 100%. In Shatter Fa City, this matter had already spread like wildfire. The Shatters who had always been high and mighty were finally caught by a spiritual caster. Naturally, they would mock him. Therefore, while they were being ridiculed, their hatred for Zi Chen grew stronger. However, judging from the current situation, it was obvious that a 5 Forces Realm cultivator would not be able to kill Zi Chen unless he invited a 6 Forces Realm cultivator. But what kind of existence was the 6 Forces state? How could they do such a thing? Moreover, in this matter, the 6 Forces Realm was willing to give Zi Chen a portion of the martial crystal origin, instead of bargaining with him for the martial crystal stones. One could see their attitude. He couldn't afford to lose face like this. Therefore, it was absolutely impossible for a 6 Realms cultivator to make a move. And the 5 Forces Realm did not have the ability to kill Zi Chen, because that flying weapon was too terrifying. On this day, they gathered again to discuss how to deal with Zi Chen. It had to be said that after the previous incident, the relationship between the few of them had obviously become better. When discussing the common enemy, their expressions of righteous indignation were almost the same. Killing Zi Chen is actually not difficult. A 5 Forces Realm cultivator can do it. What was dangerous was that weapon of his. It was simply too terrifying. You've all seen how miserable Kino was last time. With it by his side, Zi Chen can be said to be invincible. Phoebe said with a gloomy expression. The others were also helpless. Sang Larry said unwillingly, "Are we just going to let it go?" Someone next to him said, "Of course we can't just let it go. Now, we've almost become the laughingstock of the world. Even the Dharma Breaker has been implicated. If we want to resolve this matter, we must kill Zi Chen. Only by chopping his head can the hatred in my heart be appeased. How do we kill him?" Kant said helplessly, "Is he that strong? Unless we have the strength of the 6 Forces state. But Zi Chen has the martial crystal origin, so his breakthrough speed will definitely be faster than ours. By the time we reach the 6 Forces state, he'll probably be 1 step ahead of us." Everyone's expression was ugly and helpless. In any case, if they were asked to deal with Zi Chen, they would obviously not do it. "It's just a mere Zi Chen, and you're already scared." A voice sounded. The few of them heard the voice and turned around. When they saw Kino, they ignored him and a trace of disdain flashed in their eyes. Everyone was really disgusted with this pig of a teammate. Last time, he was clearly asked to save people, but in the end, he came to harm people. If he had always been firm in his beliefs, it would have been fine. But after being beaten up by Zichen, he immediately lost his so-called dignity and was obviously more afraid of death than they were. Noticing that no one was reacting, Kino, who was pretending to be mysterious, felt as if he had stuck his face to a cold butt. However, he was not angry. He walked forward and said, "It's actually not difficult to deal with Zichen. Although no one wanted to see him, they had a common enemy now." Phoebe asked, "How do we kill him?" The others also looked at Kino. Kino snorted and said, "What's Zichen's strongest move?" Naturally, no one would answer, so he could only answer his own question. "It's that strange weapon. Because it caught me off guard, I failed. So, as long as we spread this news, with the greed of spiritual practitioners, we don't need to do anything at all. They'll take the initiative to help us kill Zichen." Greed is something engraved in their bones. Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard this. It was obvious that this was a good idea. After all, what they wanted was to kill Zichen. Rays of energy flowed and entered Zichen's body. After the pure energy entered his body, it was absorbed by his heart and then transformed into the energy that Zichen needed. This process repeated. Previously, Marcus had said that a portion of martial crystal source, even the lowest grade one, would require 10 martial crystals to exchange for. After Zichen's refinement, he found that although the energy inside could not be compared to the total of 10 martial crystals, it was extremely pure and of a higher grade. Naturally, it was worth the money. While refining, Zichen was also very cautious, because there might be another 6 forces state cultivator who would cause trouble for him. He had never forgotten that person in the rebel army. Before Zichen could wait for the 6 forces state cultivator, trouble from Dharma Breaking City came first. "You're Zichen?" 2 5 forces state cultivators came together. One of them looked at Zichen and said indifferently, "I heard that you have a special weapon. Take it out immediately." The other party's expression was very arrogant. The weapon he was talking about was naturally the massacre spirit. Zichen's expression turned ugly. Without thinking, he knew that those people must have leaked the news. "What are you waiting for? Take it out quickly." Seeing that Zichen did not move, the other party's expression turned cold. "Do you want to die here?" Zichen glanced at the two of them. "What are you looking at? Do you believe that I'll gouge your eyes out?" The other person also shouted. Zichen attacked without hesitation and without mercy. Chapter 5061. Facing 2-5 strength state cultivators, Zichen easily ended the battle. He did not hold back and directly turned the two into human sticks and threw them aside casually. The two of them screamed and begged for mercy in fear. They obviously did not expect Zichen to be so powerful. Zichen looked into the distance. There were shadows flashing. They were obviously people from Pofa City. Zichen's powerful combat power shocked them. But it was only for a short time. After a while. Then, a small team of 3 arrived. They spread out and surrounded Zichen. Whoosh! Zichen directly used the slaughter spirit. Facing this strange weapon light, they could not react at all. Poof! 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 Zichen held his sword and killed the 3 of them without even using the bone stick. Throwing them together, Zichen said, "If you want to live, each of you will have to pay a piece of martial crystal." Bah! Don't even think about it. One of the 5 strength state cultivators was very tough. He spat coldly, "Look at who you are. How dare you blackmail us? Do you know who we are?" Zichen smiled faintly and went forward with his sword. Poof! The opponent's head rolled and fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open. Obviously, he did not expect Zichen to be so decisive. "Don't you want to bargain?" The other 4 people were shocked. Their bodies trembled as they looked at Zichen in fear. One of them scolded, "We are all spiritual spell practitioners. What can't we discuss? How can you be so ruthless and take people's lives?" Chen's smile did not diminish. The sword in his hand swept across that person's neck again. He looked so unreasonable. Poof! The second head flew up. The opponent's body was twitching, but it quickly turned into light and dissipated. Only 3 of the 5 were left. At this moment, there were still some people from Pofa City. When they saw how decisive Chen was, their faces changed. What do you have to say? Chen looked at the 3 of them. You speak, I'm listening. The 3 of them looked at each other and quickly shook their heads. They could see that if they spoke, they would die. We'll give you the martial crystal stones. One of them said. Take it out now. Chen's eyes were cold. I don't have it now, but I can go back to the city to get it. That person said again, don't worry, I will definitely do what I say. He was one of the 3 people in the second wave, and also the last one. Chen looked at the other 2. What about you 2? We don't have it either, but we promise that we will return the martial crystal stone to you when we return. The 2 of them vowed solemnly. Chen smiled coldly, and the blade in his hand flashed again. Pu. 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 This time, all 3 heads flew up, causing an uproar in the distance. Even Chen's subordinates were stunned at this moment. Last time, when Chen dealt with those lawbreakers, he had agreed to let these people go back to get the martial crystal stones. Why did he not agree now? The bodies of the few people disappeared. Chen looked back into the distance, and the slaughter spirit hovered beside him. If you have any ideas about me, you'd better bring a martial crystal stone in advance. Otherwise, you'll die. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen bent down and picked up the 5 rings on the ground. As the 5 forces state, they naturally had some wealth. Chen's threat made the people in the distance furious, but after seeing his methods, they did not act rashly. Chen did not go back. He stood there and opened the rings to see what good things there were. Surprisingly, in the first ring that Chen opened, he found a martial crystal stone. As for the light of energy, there were even more. There were many people in the distance, but no one came over. It was obvious that they were shocked by Chen. Find some people to guard my room. If there's any danger, shout loudly. Chen looked at Miao Pengfei in the distance and said, 10 rays of energy per person a day. This job might be a little dangerous, so Chen personally gave an extremely high price. I'll do it. Miao Pengfei volunteered, and then found dozens of people. Speaking of which, there should not be such a high reward here. Everyone spread out. Everyone was separated by a distance of 10 feet, guarding a distance of several thousand feet from Chen's residence. Within this range, as long as a high-level existence approached, someone would naturally alert them. The others wanted to join in. They did not need to do anything, and they could get 10 rays of energy per day. Where else could they find such a good thing? Unfortunately, there were enough people. When the 5 forces state in the distance saw the formation in front of them, their faces became more and more unpleasant. The 5 people from before had their heads chopped off. The intimidating effect of this was enormous. Everyone was incomparably fearful. At this moment, a person walked out from behind them. This was a 5 forces state, and he went to Chen's place alone. Someone is approaching. Just as the person approached, the guard shouted, it's a 5 forces state. Miao Pengfei heard and looked at the person. He did not understand why the person dared to come alone. When he saw who it was, he was slightly stunned. It was Marcus. Chen heard the shout and walked out of his room. When he saw who it was, he was also stunned, and then he smiled and said, are you here to rob me too? You're still in the mood to joke at a time like this. Marcus was speechless. But seeing you like this, I'm relieved. Chen looked into the distance, and there were still people standing there who were unwilling to give up. The 5 forces state is nothing. I'll just kill whoever comes. I'm just afraid that the 6 forces state will come looking for trouble. Chen knew his own strength. At most, he could fight against the 5 forces state. He did not even need to think about the 6 forces state. Marcus said, you don't have to worry about the 6 forces state. No one will come out. Otherwise, those spellbreakers would not have thought of this trick. Marcus looked behind him and said, these people are idiots. Even the spellbreakers did not dare to come out, so they deliberately spread the news. They foolishly fell for it. This is great. The spellbreakers were just laughing at them, and now they're getting back at them. Marcus did not stay for long. This time, when he heard the news, he only came out to take a look. He could not help Zichen in any way. He was only reminding Zichen to quickly break through to the next realm, lest any unforeseen circumstances arise. The 5 forces state cultivators had not left yet, and each of them was unwilling to give up. They had all seen Zichen's weapon, and it was indeed extraordinary. But no one was willing to throw their lives away. Just as the two sides were in a stalemate, a person suddenly flew over from afar. He flew in the air, and wherever he passed, there was a strong oppressive aura. Be careful, someone is flying over, the people in charge of monitoring the crisis immediately exclaimed. Zichen, it's the 6 forces state. Seeing this, Miao Pengfei also shouted. Boom! The 6 forces state cultivator stood in the air and slammed his palm down. With just one palm, Zichen's residence collapsed, and a clear palm print was imprinted on the ground. Chapter 5062. This sudden scene shocked everyone. Those who could fly in the air were at least in the 6 forces state. They did not expect him to be so decisive and kill without saying a word. That slap had even destroyed the room. A clear and huge palm print was imprinted deeply into the ground. There seemed to be 5 ravines in the deep pit. A powerful shockwave rolled out, and those people who were still guarding Zichen's room were all sent flying. They landed far away and looked up at the sky in horror. Those who were in the 5 forces state who had not retreated were also stunned. Is this possible? It was quiet in the ruins. Zichen did not appear and no one knew if he was killed. Humph! The 6 forces state who was standing in the air snorted coldly and turned to leave. He felt a little regretful. If he had known this would happen, he would not have attacked immediately. Now, he had killed Su Mo in an instant. However, when he thought about it, he was in the 6 forces state and killed a 4 forces state. It was a loss of dignity. If he could not kill Su Mo with a single slap, he would be a joke. It was right for him to leave immediately. He came and went in a hurry, leaving no trace behind. After the 6 forces state left, some people gathered and stared blankly at the ruins below. Haha, he's dead. He's finally dead. Someone laughed loudly. It was one of the leaders under Zichen. Now, everything will go back to normal. That's right. I've had enough of these damn days. Due to Zichen's order, the leaders did not dare to embezzle the resources of the people. Although Zichen had given some compensation, it was not as much as what they had embezzled. What are you talking about? Miao Pengfei glared at the leader. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that? If not for Zichen's protection, we would have killed you long ago. A leader who was also in the 2 forces state stared coldly at Miao Pengfei. At the same time, a few other leaders walked over. Their cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. Since Zichen was dead, no one could suppress them. Miao Pengfei, who had been promoted through connections, became their main target. He just died and this place is already in chaos. Interesting. A voice of ridicule rang out, and a 5 strengths realm cultivator walked over. When they saw this, they immediately retreated, not daring to surround this place anymore. Because more 5 strengths realm cultivators had arrived. Although Zichen was dead, there was a possibility that the things on his body could still be preserved. For example, the weapon in front of them. Everyone arrived at the ruins and began to search for Zichen's ring. The original guards tactfully retreated. That's impossible. If he's dead, the ring should still be there. A 5 strengths realm cultivator muttered. They had practically turned this place upside down. They had carefully searched every ravine, but there was nothing. What are you looking for? A voice rang out. Nonsense, of course it is, the 5 forces state responded subconsciously, but when he saw the person squatting above the pit, his expression suddenly changed and he exclaimed, Zichen. This exclamation was like a chain reaction. Following that, the exclamations began to fluctuate. You didn't die. The 5 strengths realm cultivators in the pit were all stunned. How could he be fine after being hit by a 6 strengths realm cultivator? As for the junior leaders who had ridiculed him previously, they were all stunned. How is this possible? Their expressions changed drastically, and they chose to escape without hesitation. Saying those words was equivalent to openly going against Zi Chen. Their chances of survival were almost zero. If you don't want to be persecuted, follow me and kill them. After seeing Zi Chen, Miao Pengfei regained his confidence and shouted at the crowd. Everyone obeyed Miao Pengfei's words. This was related to their interests. If they did not kill them today, these people would continue to embezzle their resources in the future. In an instant, many people charged forward. These junior leaders fled in fear. As they ran, they shouted that Zi Chen was not dead. Obviously, they wanted to call the 6 Strengths Realm Cultivator back. However, the 6 Strengths Realm Cultivator's speed was far beyond their imagination. He came quickly and left quickly. The 5 Strengths Realm Cultivators in the pit were all stunned and did not move. One of them smiled awkwardly and said that it was a misunderstanding. However, after Zi Chen's cold gaze swept over him, he immediately stopped talking. Zi Chen looked at them and said, "I won't make things difficult for you. The two of you should prepare a piece of martial crystal. Otherwise, I'll send you to hell today." At this moment, there were 13 5 Strengths Realm Cultivators here. When they heard Zi Chen's words, their faces were filled with anger. "Are you threatening all of us?" A 5 Strengths Realm Cultivator looked at Zi Chen indifferently. "You've got guts." Zi Chen smiled. A cold light appeared beside him and unexpectedly pierced through the 5 Strengths Realm Cultivator's head. The crowd was in an uproar. All the 5 Strengths Realm Cultivators began to retreat. Zi Chen was too careless. He attacked without saying anything. Zi Chen jumped into the deep pit. Taking advantage of the fact that the other party did not have time to react, he slashed down with his saber. Poof! The opponent's body was slashed diagonally and split into 2 halves. The 5 Strengths Realm Cultivator screamed in fear. The upper half of his body quickly used energy to recover. With such injuries, if he reacted too slowly, he would die. "Stop. Otherwise, I'll catch up and kill you one by one. As for who survives, it'll depend on your luck." After slashing, Zi Chen's cold gaze swept across the surroundings. There were already 5 Strengths Realm Cultivators who had chosen to escape. However, when they heard Zi Chen's words, they stopped. Now that the crowd had dispersed, they could actually escape. Many of them could escape. However, some of them would not be able to escape and would die. Under such circumstances, no one was willing to use their own lives to buy time for others. I'll say the same thing. 2 people and a piece of martial crystal. Take it out and you can leave. If you can't, leave your head behind. Zi Chen looked at these people. If you don't want to, you can try to attack me together and see if you can kill me. The crowd looked at each other. In fact, they had this idea in their hearts. However, they were not familiar with each other and naturally did not have absolute trust in each other. If someone stepped forward and someone retreated, it would be troublesome. Therefore, after looking at each other, they decided to keep Wu Jingsha safe. If each of them had half a piece of martial crystal, they could afford it with their financial resources. Zi Chen successfully obtained 6 pieces of martial crystal. The 12 people retreated. Only half of the guy's body was left. He was still recovering. When he saw Zi Chen looking at him, he said in horror, "I have martial crystal too. I'll give you one. I can take it myself." Zi Chen slashed again and the guy's head was separated from his body. When the 5 Strengths Realm Cultivators who had not retreated saw this, their expressions changed and they quickly left. After the crowd left, Miao Pengfei and the others chased after them. Those small leaders who had escaped were all killed. Not a single one was spared. Zi Chen took out 2 pieces of martial crystal and threw them to Miao Pengfei. "You and Hu Zheng take one each. Reach the 3 Strengths realm as soon as possible." This, Miao Pengfei caught the martial crystal. This was a huge surprise, but he did not know what to say. It was too precious. "I'll go to Pofa City soon. When that time comes, I'll have to rely on you guys to maintain the current situation. It won't do if your cultivation is too low." Zi Chen said, "Ask Hu Zheng to come back." Make use of this time to cultivate. Miao Pengfei nodded and left. He looked very excited. Zichen looked at the ruins and sighed inwardly. That was close. He had expected the 6 strengths realm cultivators to come again. Therefore, he dug a tunnel in the room. After hearing the screams, Zichen went in without hesitation. Then, a powerful force attacked. The room was destroyed and even the tunnel was buried. According to the original plan, Zichen would come out from the tunnel and hide in Pofa City. However, when he came out from the other side, the 6 strengths realm cultivators had left. He changed his mind. After a few days, Zichen's power finally reached a critical point through the continuous feedback from his heart. Buzz. Chapter 5063. A portion of martial crystal source allowed Zichen to break through again and reach the 5 strength state. A powerful aura circulated around him and rays of rule light filled his vision. Zichen seemed to be in the midst of infinite rule light as all the rule light flashed before his eyes. As the rule light entered his eyes, Zichen's understanding of the world's rule light seemed to have improved. His control of the art of destruction was also more profound. Looking at the clear rule light, he seemed to have understood. Cultivation was about understanding the rule light. Only by understanding more rule light would one be able to improve their realm. That was the main purpose of the martial crystal. Now, he seemed to have understood why he could possess a real body after reaching the 6th strength state. Because at that level, he would have a deeper understanding of the world's rule light. Therefore, he would be recognized by the world's rule light and be granted a real body. Zichen seemed to have seen hope. As his realm continued to improve, as his realm deepened and his understanding of the world's rule light deepened, would he be able to pass through it easily? After all, the 6th strength state could ignore the gravity of the world and fly in the sky. The higher his realm, the more authority he would have. Thump, thump. Zichen's heart was beating vigorously as energy surged from it and spread throughout his body. After breaking through today, Zichen would have nothing to fear from now on. He walked out of the room and the 5 rays of light surrounding him were very eye-catching. A ray of light flew from the sky and stood in the air. It was the 6th strength state from the rebel army who had come twice. It was obvious that someone had tipped him off, so he had come again. However, he was obviously late this time. You've broken through. The 6th strength state stood in the air and looked at Zichen in surprise. You've come to find trouble with me twice. The first time, you even launched a sneak attack. Looking at your character, I'm not surprised that the people you've trained are greedy for money. Zichen had broken through and was no longer afraid of the 6th strength state. His words were full of ridicule and sarcasm. You're courting death. The 6th strength state's eyes were cold and murderous. He swooped down and slapped his palm toward Zichen. This time, Zichen was fearless and raised his palm to meet the attack. Boundless light of energy swirled around his body. Buzz. Countless threads appeared in Zichen's palm and swept across the body of the 6 forces realm cultivator. Kai, 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 Kai. Zichen's body slid backward and almost hit the house behind him. The 6 forces realm rose into the air once again. Some crisscrossing scars appeared on his body, and dark red bloodstains appeared. Although they were not serious, he was still injured. The light surrounding his body also dimmed a little. The 6 realms cultivator stared at Zichen in disbelief. A mere 5 forces realm cultivator was actually able to injure him. Zichen also looked at the 6 forces realm. Indeed, once one reached that realm, one would be able to possess a true body. Again, facing the 6 forces realm cultivator, he was not afraid at all. The slaughter spirit appeared beside him and shot out like a bolt of lightning. The 6 forces realm cultivator stretched out his hand, wanting to grab the light. Pu. The light instantly pierced through his palm, and blood splattered in the air. The 6 forces realm cultivator was stunned. The slaughter spirit turned into a ray of light and flew back to Zichen's side. However, Zichen also knew that this was the end. It was impossible for him to kill a 6 forces realm cultivator. However, it would not be easy for the other party to kill him. Die. After suffering 2 losses in a row, the 6 forces realm cultivator was enraged. He descended from the sky and charged at Zi-Chen. The bone rod appeared in Zi-Chen's hand and he swung it forward. Buzz! A large amount of light scattered, surging with a powerful aura. Accompanied by a loud tremor, the two of them retreated. Bang! Zi-Chen's body directly smashed through the building and landed in the distance. There was still a certain gap between him and the Six Forces Realm Cultivator. The Six Forces Realm Cultivator's bloody palm attacked Zi-Chen again. Zi-Chen was not afraid at all. He blocked with the bone rod. Boom! Boom! Powerful energy continued to vibrate as the two of them fought. The energy ripples that spread out destroyed many buildings. The people nearby had already seen that the situation was not good. They fled far away and stood far away to watch the battle. Looking at the two of them fighting in front of them, their eyes were filled with shock. Zi-Chen was fighting against a Six Forces Realm Cultivator with the strength of a Five Forces Realm Cultivator, but he was not at a disadvantage at all. The weapon light that appeared at that time was extremely fast and very strange. It even posed a threat to the other party. Boom! The powerful energy collided, and the two of them retreated. Zi-Chen was relatively far away. He held the bone rod and pointed at the other party. He said sarcastically, "A Six Forces Realm Cultivator actually fought to a draw with me. It seems that you are only SOSO. Good, very good." The Six Forces Realm Cultivator's eyes were filled with anger. He nodded and said, "Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Kai. Kai. His body seemed to be burning. Countless flames surged, and the surrounding temperature suddenly rose. Go to hell! His fist landed as if it was carrying boundless flames that wanted to engulf and drown Zi-Chen. Zi-Chen's face changed. The energy around him was pushed to the maximum. He felt a strong threat from the other party's punch. This might be the strongest move of a Six Forces Realm Cultivator. At the same time, he held the bone rod horizontally. At this moment, he did not try to be brave. Instead, he chose to defend himself. Boom! The powerful flames surged and landed on Zi-Chen's body. His body started to distort rapidly, as if he could disappear at any time. This, Zi-Chen, who was flying backward, saw this scene and his face changed drastically. At this moment, under the flames, his body seemed to have revealed its true form. It was like a thin piece of paper that was bent in the air and could be melted at any time. His Five Forces Realm Cultivator was rapidly depleting. Perhaps when his energy was depleted, that would be the day his body would dissipate. Buzz! At this moment, energy kept surging from his heart to replenish his energy. Zi-Chen landed on the ground. His face was still pale. His opponent's attack was too strange. You didn't die. When the Six Forces Realm Cultivator saw Zi-Chen, who was unscathed, he was shocked and looked like he had seen a ghost. He had used a Six Forces Realm Cultivator's true body technique. Only by completely communicating with the rules of heaven and earth could he use such a move. He had a crushing advantage against those below the Six Forces realm. However, his full force attack did not make Zi-Chen disappear. The previous confrontation between the two was like a meeting between the real and the fake. The rules of heaven and earth were the judges. The real and the fake would be separated in an instant. However, Zi-Chen was still alive. He did not disappear under the rules of his true body technique. This was obviously against the rules. But looking at Zi-Chen's expression, he was obviously frightened. I don't believe it. The Six Forces Realm Cultivator charged forward again. The second attack was like a blazing fire wave that drowned Zi-Chen. The fire wave swept past and Zi-Chen was pushed far away. When his body landed on the ground, other than the dimming of the Five Forces realm, there were no other injuries. How is this possible? The Six Forces Realm Cultivator's face turned pale. He turned around and left. This time, he did not leave. Instead, he ran away. Chapter 50-64. The Six Forces Realm Cultivator ran away because he had used all his strength but still could not kill Zi-Chen. This made him feel strange. However, Zi-Chen's weapon could hurt him. If he used up too much energy, he might be the one to die. As for why, he did not know either. The others stood in the distance. When they saw the Six Forces Realm Cultivator run away, they all exclaimed. They were extremely shocked and felt that it was unbelievable. After the Six Forces Realm cultivator ran away, Zichen's face suddenly turned pale. Part of it was because of the huge energy consumption, but most of it was because he was scared. He thought that after reaching the Five Forces Realm, he could easily kill the Six Forces Realm cultivator like when he was a Four Forces Realm cultivator. However, he only realized the danger when he actually fought. Under the other party's attack, his body seemed to have turned into a piece of paper. If not for the endless energy in his heart maintaining his body, he would have died. The flames contained the power of this world's laws. Under such power, he did not have the ability to resist at all. It was the heart that was resisting, blocking the destruction of the laws and constantly replenishing his vitality. The heart that he had accidentally obtained back then had been sealed for countless years, but it could still resist the laws here. Was there some kind of connection between the heart and this world? After this escape, he believed that the Six Forces Realm cultivator would not come again. Zichen's safety was no longer a problem. Next, he would report to Shatter Fa City. However, before that, he had to wait for Miao Pengfei and Hu Zheng to break through. Only when they reached the Three Forces Realm could they truly control this place. While there was still some time, Zichen planned to take a look at the mine with killing crystals. Although Ape Bert had warned him not to go there again, the growth of the killing spirit required killing crystals. No one knew what would happen in Shatter Fa City in the future. If the killing spirit could become stronger, it would naturally be of help. Zichen left on his own, heading straight for the lode. At night, he lit a bonfire. Perhaps because they sensed Zichen's Five Forces Realm aura, no Shatter Fa beast came to attack. Even the vanishing shadow beast did not appear. Zichen arrived outside the mine. It was already deserted. Many wooden houses had collapsed and some wood was scattered around. He had entered and exited the mine many times and was very familiar with this place. He walked in with familiarity. Activate the immortal spiritual eye. Now that they were here, there was no need to worry. As soon as he entered, Zichen felt the change in the atmosphere. There seemed to be more killing intent in the mine. He summoned the slaughter spirit. The slaughter spirit flew forward rapidly, absorbing the killing intent in this place to its heart's content. That's not right. Could it be that someone is coming? Last time, the killing intent here had clearly been completely absorbed, so why was it here now? Not long after, a crystal suddenly exploded in front of him. It was the killing crystal. It had not been manipulated by someone. It had exploded on its own. This was the main path, and he had walked back and forth many times. The killing crystals had long been dug out. These killing intents were very cold, but Zichen, who was already in the 5 strength state, could still withstand them for the time being. Shua. The slaughter spirit flew back and absorbed the killing intent. Zichen continued forward. At the same time, he controlled the slaughter spirit to prevent it from going anywhere else. A moment later, another killing crystal appeared from above and exploded. Could it be that the killing crystals here can grow on their own? Zichen recalled the first time he was threatened by Sang Larry. When he entered this mine, there were killing crystals in the places he walked past. As expected, as he continued forward, Zichen found more killing crystals. Although there were not many and they were scattered, it confirmed his guess. This gave him hope. As long as there were new killing crystals, he would not have to worry about digging out killing crystals with other things. Zichen walked and stopped along the way, and he also found many scattered killing crystals. When he came to the mine where he had dug out killing crystals before, he indeed saw a large number of killing crystals, covering the surface. Go. Zichen looked ahead. The slaughter spirit turned into a ray of light and flew forward. It flew past those killing crystals. When it touched the surface, the killing crystals exploded one by one, and the killing intent within was absorbed by it. After the killing intent completely disappeared, the killing crystals turned into powder and fell down. After a pile of powder, Zichen found another type of kill crystal. His expression changed slightly, and he did not dare to act rashly. He walked closer and looked at the killing crystal in front of him. At this moment, he estimated that this killing crystal was about 3 meters wide. Once he used the slaughter spirit to cut it open, the slaughter spirit would be able to absorb the killing intent within for a long time. However, at the edge, Zichen saw an arm. The arm was clearly visible, and he was not sure if there was a person inside, so he did not dare to act rashly. After leaving this cave, Zichen went to the next place. Last time, he had seen an eye here, and it was even a moving eye. This time, the eye could not be seen because the surface was covered with new killing crystals. Zichen did not act rashly this time. Instead, he carefully dug out the killing crystals. After digging out nearly 100 killing crystals, he still did not see the eye. Could it be that there are more killing crystals here? Zichen dug out another 100 killing crystals, and he had obviously reached the place where he had seen the eye last time. However, there was still nothing out of the ordinary. As such, Zichen dug deeper until he had dug out a hole. He had dug out hundreds of killing crystals, but he still did not find anything. He put away some of the killing crystals and retreated, detonating the killing crystals in front of him. The reason why he kept some of them was because he wanted to take them to Pofa City. After all, he still needed to live there. Wang. Boundless killing intent exploded out, and it was like a tornado had appeared here. The mines all around trembled, and some rocks fell down. The slaughter spirit turned into a ray of light and rushed into the killing intent. It was like a whirlpool, absorbing the killing intent within at the fastest speed possible. Soon, the killing intent was absorbed, and Zichen, who had not found the eye, decided to let the slaughter spirit open up a path. The slaughter spirit started to dig forward, and the killing crystals that it touched exploded one after another. All of the killing intent was absorbed by it. Soon, there was a huge crater here, big enough to accommodate a person lying down. Zichen was sure that he had dug out too much. The eye that he had found before had disappeared. How did it disappear? Zichen could not understand. Could it be that what I saw last time was just an illusion? This possibility did not exist, because he had been very conscious at that time. The eye had been closed at the beginning, but as he had stuck to the killing crystal and looked over, the eye had opened. However, the eye was now gone. Where did it go? Suddenly, Zichen's expression changed. It can't be that it came out by itself, right? Right at this moment, Zichen noticed from the corner of his eyes that there seemed to be a shadow next to him. Swoosh. Chapter 5065. At the end of the month, the new book mission had not been completed. He had to work overtime at night to write the new book. Thunder Warrior would not be releasing today and would strive to release it tomorrow. Thunder Warrior mission had not been completed. Currently in progress, please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update.